Oh, like probably number one.
Isn't it badass?
This is really cool. We did one with Mark Smith in his office, Muley Slayer, and he had some pretty solid mule deer and an aoudad, I think. But like you've got a giant elk, three giant whitetails here. Oh, there's fourth behind me. Sorry.
There's
my neck doesn't turn that far.
There is 3 or 4 deer just hanging upside down that are skull capped. That go over 150.
Like this whole thing you've got working here down the center main beam, it's kind of like a steel pipe industrial type lighting fixture, but he's got skull capped.
That's a 153-inch whitetail right there.
Yeah, just kind of like meh.
Low fence. Didn't even save the cape.
This rack was his idea.
That's a pretty cool idea.
He got the idea out of our taxidermy shop. You know, they hang the antlers upside down out of wall space, so here we are.
I mean, that is such a cool idea.
Yeah.
Well, we may have to take a picture. I don't know.
I've got a couple pictures.
Show notes.
Got to put show notes, yeah. So we're joined again by...
We don't do those. We're not that fancy.
Oh.
I do those.
Oh.
We definitely do those. But we got Jordan here, as you've heard, David Frisbie, and we have Taylor Elston.
That is me.
And these guys are just absolute backcountry badasses. And we are going to be entertained with the story of a Ibex hunt in... Which stand was it?
Kyrgyzstan.
Yep. I know.
Which stand?
It is. So a lot of the stands are actually between like China and like Russia. So there's like Kazakhstan. So if you've watched Borat, that's his. That borders Kyrgyzstan. You also have Tajikistan, and you have Uzbekistan. They're all kind of like over in the same area.
Did you just like take a solid geography class before you embarked on this?
I looked at this map like probably 1,000 times before we actually like left.
He was a better tour guide than our interpreter.
It's a cool little area. So it had a really cool history, and it's just a very different culture. It's a mountain culture. I mean, everything there is like there's 2 mountains there. One's called Victory Peak, and the other one, I forget what its name in Kyrgyz is, but it's basically like a spirit of the gods, or like that's the heavenly mountains is the Tian Shan, which is the mountain region that covers basically the entire region, other than like where this massive lake is. So the Tian Shan is heavenly mountains, and they have this one mountain. It's actually the number 2. Victory Peak's number 1. The number 2 mountain they thought was the biggest for the longest time, but it's named like the god or the spirit that is, and it's just a huge. It's 24,000 feet. They have several mountains over
24,000 feet. Good night.
It's crazy.
Yeah. So if you look at like Pikes Peak, they're what 14.4, 14.5.
Yeah.
There's mountains over there that are over 16. They don't even have names. They don't even bother naming them.
Oh, that big one over there. That yonder mountain.
That yonder mountain.
It is a very neat culture, and it's a crazy place.
Well, I can't wait to hear the story about this. And so to David, he is killing it in the hike to hunt. Number 1, money raised and miles. And you were on a couple weeks ago with us about Mike Lee, and you were still number 1, and you're maintaining, which is even better, right?
Right. So I believe last time we met, I was at 600 miles. I've almost doubled that now.
Ugh.
And right at $10,500. But more importantly, the fundraising side, obviously.
Solid money for backcountry hunters and anglers, which is awesome.
And I'm pretty proud of the fundraising side. The hiking/running side has become a grind, and it's not only me, but my wife is about sick of it because
you're going to work out again,
right? Yeah. I take a lot of time out of my day to do this stuff, but she's been supportive so far. So
she's like, Jesus, I can't wait for hunting season.
Yeah. So we're 16 days left. Oh, tomorrow will be 16 days left, and literally counting the sleeps.
Yeah, like
to get it done. But it's a
good time. I think you should get extra miles because it's like I see like Land and Ty, and they're like, we're going on a hike, and they're like, oh, it's 75 degrees,
right?
And
it's 113 when we came back from vacation.
Exactly.
And I was out. I did 13 miles in 113 degrees.
Oh my God. I see you and Brian Donovan at it all the time, and it's just like like 2:30 in the morning out, because that's the only time you can go and it not be a billion degrees.
Yeah. But it's
still hot, just not sun shining on you, you know?
Well, you know, going into this, my goal was to just get that first week. BHA was giving away a prize for, you know, whoever hiked the most miles the first week. And a guy up in Alberta, I believe, his name's Levi, won the first week. I was like, damn it. Now I got to win the whole damn thing.
The only thing left to win is the whole thing.
Taylor has a saying. What is it? I don't know if you have longer legs or bigger lungs, because I know we've done the same amount of drugs.
Yeah.
But we, you know, it's a grind, and my competitive spirit, I will not. I mean, I'm just relentless on myself, with everything. So it's nice to be in first, but I see all these younger guys in my rearview mirror, and it just pushes me more.
Yeah.
But I've made some really good friends over social media, you know, doing this. I've got to know some of these guys, and we all kind of motivate each other in the morning. We're on a little group text message, and it's all like, hey, guys, going to go out and try to do 5 miles today, or I'm going to try to do 10 or whatever. And it's, you know, we're all motivating each other to do the same thing.
Yeah. So you guys just got back from a trip from Colorado, and I think Taylor was saying, like, this has obviously made a difference for when you go up and do, like, put it into practical, you know. So it's made a pretty big difference for you?
Sure.
Yeah.
So, I mean, last year and we can talk about this with the Ibex hunt, but last year we were training together, and I feel like I'm in better shape this year than I was last year, but last year my baseline was a lot lower.
Yeah.
Now, so I came into this year in good shape, and I've just improved on that. And a friend of ours, we were climbing, what did we do? Like, was it 800 feet of elevation gain in 1 mile?
Yes, it was a very strong climb.
Right. And so we live at, 300, 400 feet sea level? And up there we were at
11. We went up to over 12, and then we dropped down to that lake was 11.5.
So.
And then it went up from there. So coming back out, we did over 1,000 feet, and it was basically flat for the first mile because we're about 2 miles back in.
Where were you guys at?
Man, it's that place over by that thing.
Yeah. No fish there at all.
No, we didn't see anything. Didn't catch anything.
Yeah, you were in Colorado.
We were west of Denver by an hour and a half, 2 hours.
Okay.
So our friend Trey lives up there, and he's watched us chase each other up the mountain, knowing what was going on.
Yeah.
I wasn't going to give up because he was on my heels.
Yeah.
And he wasn't going to give up because he was chasing me.
Yeah.
And he watched the competition up the mountain, and both of us, we got to the top, and I looked at him, I was like, open the effing truck. Unlock the truck. Let me get this back off.
I need to get out of here.
Yeah. But for sure, it was like this whole hike hunt thing has definitely raised my game. And I'm looking forward to, you know, hunting this year because I'm going on a caribou hunt that's going to be essentially a golf course. You know, it's not going to be hard at all for me.
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward. I mean, it's just going to make all these hunts that I'm doing this year that much more enjoyable because I'm not going to be out there worrying about my feet or my lungs or whatever.
Or just, I would imagine too, just kind of like miserable afterwards. Like you're just like, you come through it and you're just like, okay, I don't feel like I'm just a piece of hammered dog crap.
Right.
You know? Like I do when I come off of just a weekend hunt. You know,
have y'all seen that YouTube video of the guy? He's in his waders and a t-shirt, and he's on a treadmill with it at full incline. He's carrying a 20-pound dumbbell across his shoulder like a shotgun, and it says like 70 days till duck season. He's in there training, walking in his waders. I'm like, yeah, that's a public land guy right there.
That's absolutely a public land guy. I feel like I need to really step up my how to pee in waders game this year. Like that's the way that I need to figure out.
Get a catheter.
That actually came up in a Drake product development meeting. Like, how can we come up with something that we can unzip and
allow for evacuation?
We can put a guy on the moon, but we cannot put a zipper in some waders.
Man, I'll tell you what. It was like last year was really my first year to duck hunt, so these guys were taking me out, and they're like, I was like, all right, so is there a good way to pee in these things? And they're like, get as little as possible on them.
Try to have a good stream.
Yeah, try to like arch your back a little bit.
Good strong stream and not into the wind.
Exactly.
If you can, kind of lean on a tree forward and
try to get your
way.
hips out over your feet.
If you would, walk into the middle of the decoys and do it, because that's when all the ducks come in.
Oh, yeah.
Somebody's got it
exactly.
out.
Like, oh, there they come. But we're looking forward to it. It's it's that time of the year where it's just like this weird. I mean, we're like what, less than 30 days away from Dove opener here in Texas.
Mm-hmm.
Heck yeah.
Which means we're
they're opening early this year, aren't they?
Like the 29th or 30th, I think, right? Or is that deer season? I don't know.
No, deer season will be last week of September.
Which is like
it's
the 29th,
29th
right?
of September is going to open.
And then when does Dove open? September 1st?
It's usually Labor Day weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been so enthralled with the elk hunt going on, which we have not even figured out how we're doing it.
Carefully.
I have not even looked at what Dove is this year.
I think it's September 1st.
When are y'all going elk hunting?
We'll be going to New Mexico starting the 15th of September.
Okay.
Do y'all get landowner tags or did y'all draw tags this year?
We drew tags.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, Grinch drew a tag. I'm just going as
Grinch.
Yeah. Austin.
Goes to the nickname.
I know, we need better nicknames.
Well, Austin, Grinch is the only one that's got one, and his girlfriend just graduated nursing school.
High school.
And
Whoa.
Yeah, I'm just gonna.
But she's mature for her age.
Yeah, she just graduated, and they posted a bunch of pictures, and every single one of them, I'm like, yeah, there's Grinch, looking
awesome.
Angry, or as it was once put by a friend, like a pitching coach watching his team lose from the dugout all the time.
Yeah, if you look at pictures of him, you'll know exactly which one it is. No matter what picture it is, even if he's smiling, he looks pissed off.
Yeah, exactly.
I like the nickname. We were talking about that nicknames always need to be earned and never given to yourself. But there's like if you earn a good nickname like the Grinch, like I feel like you're a better person because of that.
There's no doubt, and he's probably the best person on the podcast because of that.
That hurts.
Oh, you cut me. Well, I mean, I like you better, but
that's right.
You hear that?
The
Austin?
left out bus just backed over
him. Exactly.
Where in New Mexico did you don't have to tell me, but like what unit area?
9.
Yeah. Unit 9.
Oh yeah.
Unit 9.
Well, just saying, if y'all need some pack mules.
Hey.
I actually have 2 weeks off in the September, heading up to Colorado. So
I'm a decent camera guy.
Yeah.
I can carry some on my back. So.
Well, I'm not a good camera guy, and I'm trying to film this hunt. So.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It's gonna be. I mean, I'm not going, which sucks because it's year 2 of not being able to go. Last year I submitted time off and just submitted sick days for a week because I was out of vacation time. And my manager just picks up the phone and is like, "Did you just submit a week's vacation with sick days?" I'm like, "I don't get sick. Why can't I use it?" She's like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "Well, I'm going on an elk hunt." And she's like, "No, you can't use it. You can't."
That might be a good podcast to talk about how you balance time away from home with work, being a hunter.
I actually have that
living
written down, like how that is.
Well, being in Texas and having to take so much time away to go scout and go do this and being married, balance life and hunting. I mean, y'all talk about that.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
I don't know if I'm the one to talk about
living on the edge. I know it's just
I mean, every hunting season, I think it's just more of a, all right, don't leave me. I'll see you in a couple months.
Yeah.
Well, I used to work for Anheuser-Busch, and I went to my manager. I had a South Africa hunt just fall into my lap, and the guy I went to the guy I reported to, and I asked him if I could have. I was like, "Hey, I'm leaving like in a week."
Yeah.
He's like, "Absolutely not." I was like, "All right." Well, the VP of the branch, huge hunter.
Yeah.
I just walked straight to his office. I was like, "Hey, man, I have a chance to go to South Africa." He's like, "Oh, that's awesome. Are you going to take off work? I mean, how much vacation time do you have left and all this?" And well, he wouldn't approve it. He's like, "Oh yeah, I will go above your head so fast."
No doubt. Yeah, so that's I looked like we were talking earlier tonight about draw hunts, and I love the fact that there's January draw hunts because I'm like, vacation time resets. let's get back after it.
Those draw hunts are the only time you can hunt mule deer in Texas outside of the 2 weeks after Thanksgiving, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which fingers crossed.
Heck yeah, man.
I want to get an email that says, "Congratulations, please pay your money."
Nope.
Here, take it.
Take it all.
Take whatever you want. Here's the card number and everything. Just do what you need to do. I'm looking at maps right now and figuring out how I'm going to drive to West Texas 4 times between now and January. Well, I guess we should probably get into an Ibex hunt here. So, how did this whole idea of going to a stand to go hunt? Where did this even originate from? And
it originated from a caribou hunt.
Yeah.
A caribou hunt.
So, since 2010, I've been trying to kill a caribou.
Okay.
I've been doing everything I can to kill a caribou, and I've had people back out on me. You know, my other buddies. I've had, we had Alaska
we had
fishing game.
Deposits on
They cut tax back
plains.
33% for non-residents. I've had people take my money and never call me again. Like everything.
Every scenario.
Yeah. So we walked into Dallas Safari Club January 4th, 17. Walked in and I looked at him. I was like, "We're doing a caribou hunt. We have a good friend that has a reputable outfitter that does stuff international, and he guaranteed me we could get on a caribou hunt." So we sit down at his table at Dallas Safari Club. Neil and Brownlee, guy's name's Trey Sparing. Yep. Sit down at the table, having beers. I've already written my check. Hell yeah, we're going to kill caribou. Check's written out, and Taylor is over here flipping through the catalog and points at this animal, this freaking goat.
Yeah.
So we start talking about it, and the co-owner, or the other owner of Neil and Brownlee, Greg, comes over and starts talking to us about Ibex. And we get up from the table, we walk around a little bit, and we talk about it, and we're not 50 yards from the table. He's like, "We're going Ibex hunting."
Yeah.
I was like, "Son of a bitch."
No, not again.
There goes the caribou.
Yeah.
So we go back over. I scratch out the memo on my check from caribou to Ibex. He cuts his check, and we have a beer with the guys at Neil and Brownlee, kind of toasting this big hunt. And then we walk out of there, out of Dallas Safari Club last year, planning on going to a country that I've never heard of, hunting an animal I didn't even know existed.
Yeah.
And it was just something totally unexpected, international. So it was funny, my wife was actually walking into church, and I called her. I was like, "Hey, babe, do you care if I go to Kyrgyzstan and go Ibex hunting?" She was like, "I don't care. Do whatever you want. Just, I'll call you after church."
Yeah.
And she calls me after church. She's like, "So what were you saying you were going to do?"
Yeah.
I was like, "Going to Kyrgyzstan. That's, over in mid-Asia, Middle East."
Where?
Yeah.
It is just south of Russia, just
Yeah.
a little bit.
She's like, "Absolutely not."
Yeah, no.
Okay, whatever. So,
And the biggest hunt of your life began.
right. So, the very next day, I'll let you jump in here in a minute, but the very next day, we came home that night. He's like, "Hey, let's get a baseline of where we're at, on how good a shape we're in, on what we can carry on our backs, all that good stuff." So the very next day, he shows up here at first thing in the morning. It is sleeting outside, and we take round trip? 12 miles?
Yeah.
Yeah, 12 miles down 35 and back with 50-pound packs. It was miserable.
Yeah, I
like
imagine.
Absolutely just killer.
Yeah.
Well, we did. I think 7 miles with weight on our back, and then there is a video of us dumping out the deer corn that we had stuffed in our packs.
Yeah,
like, fuck this.
Yeah, just dumped it out and
Yeah.
just made it home. So, very next day, packs got lighter, but we kept going, and this hashtag that I've talked about before, GETMYGOAT, kind of was born, and it caught some fire on social media a little bit, and guys were tagging me and them working out, all this. But by the end, for the next 7 months, we trained our asses off every single day. We were doing long hikes. We're going to the gym together. We're keeping each other accountable. And that's something that I found last year was so important, to have somebody to hold you accountable and keep you going. It goes back to the hike to hunt thing.
Yeah.
I don't have that this year because we don't have some big hunt planned, but I have the guys on the app
Yeah.
that are keeping me accountable and waking up and doing it every morning. But Taylor's a big long range shooter. He's very, very good at that, and I couldn't shoot over 250 yards when we started, and he taught me how to shoot long range. And by the end of the trip, or by the end of our training, I mean, he can shoot out to 1,000 yards, 1,100 yards right now,
give or take.
Yeah. So
Wow.
and I was hitting a steel plate at 600
With
and
a short barreled 308.
yeah. And we were, he talked me through all that. He explained the ballistic thing to me, and just we get to the point where, I mean, we're hiking. Our last hike, we hiked. How far was that last one?
Our last one, it wasn't our longest one, but it was the most miserable. We did what made it different was the weight on our packs. I think we had 70 pounds to 80 pounds apiece, and we did just at 10 miles.
Just all deer corn?
I think we had to go beyond deer corn for that.
Yeah, we had like steel plates and
kettlebells.
stuff,
Yeah,
and
like-
kettlebells and stuff in there.
And it was a miserable hike. Your feet get sweaty pretty early, and then so you rub blisters. His feet were raw, so we had to do like some emergency surgery on the side of the road, just
It happens.
Yeah.
just to finish up. But we finished up, and that was our last big hike before we left out.
We took the next 5 days off and just kind of relaxed.
Got yourself.
Yeah, get fresh legs.
What's it
going
going to
into
matter? I mean, if you're not ready then, you're not going to be ready 6 days later,
Sure.
so.
Well, you just run the risk of getting hurt.
Yeah.
Like
I mean,
there's
You get
so
in
much you can read.
preservation mode, right?
Yeah.
So I didn't play softball last
Yeah.
year because I love playing softball. It's right across the street right here.
Yeah.
Love playing softball. Skipped that. We skipped anything that might get us hurt.
Yeah.
I love mountain biking. Quit mountain biking the last few months. You could just tear something out, and there goes the hunt. You
Yeah,
know?
But also on the training aspect of it, like our families go to the beach together every year, and we were in Galveston, and we were hiking up and down the beach together, barefoot even.
Yeah.
I mean,
Who's
that was a
Bad idea. You will rub blisters on the bottom of your feet that you never had barefoot before.
Ugh. So, like, the training aspect, obviously, that just is a crazy, like, plus you don't really have a sense of I mean, you've all been to Colorado, you've been to places in the United States where you, at least if you were going on a high country hunt, you would have some sort of conceptual idea, but I mean, outside of looking at pictures and like looking at, it's 16,000 feet or 20, you don't really you can't really grasp the terrain really like in a realistic thing. So that must have been just an experience in and of itself.
Well, I would say that honestly, the hardest part for me, and Taylor has a completely different story than I do, but the hardest part for me was the mental grind. So we left here at 6 a.m. or something, didn't we?
No, our flight was later. Our flight was like at 3 p.m.
Yeah, that's right, because we flew down to Houston and met Trey.
Mm-hmm.
So we flew down to Houston. We met our other hunting partner, and from Houston we all had margaritas and had a good time waiting on our next flight. And then we flew from Houston to Istanbul, which was
12-hour flight,
12
13-hour
hours.
flight.
And then it was a 6-hour flight from Istanbul to Bishkek. So now we're 18 hours in just on those flights.
And we're at 24 hours layovers.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, just like
Yeah.
And then you got to
that's
get.
exhausting.
And then now you're in a foreign country with
Yeah.
guns.
So,
So now you got to get your guns checked in.
So
And-
we land in Bishkek at like first thing in the morning. I remember that they stopped. So Neil and Brownlee worked this deal out where we got this red carpet treatment. They stopped the plane on the tarmac, and us three and a couple of other people in the back of the plane get up. We walk out. They have a staircase there. We walk down the staircase, get loaded into a van, and they drive us to this holding facility.
Now, he says drive us to his holding facility. Literally was a 50-yard drive.
Yeah.
like,
We
Like
could've walked.
they rolled out the red carpet. We went from here to across the street in a van.
oh, wow.
It would have been easier to walk.
Yeah.
But there we were met by our the outfitter and translator. But you walk in and it's a bar. They have these Asian girls that speak Russian that are Muslim, right? The whole country's pretty much Muslim.
They're all Muslim.
Yeah. Serving beer at 6 a.m. in the morning. And we sat there in this little cocktail lounge, had beer, talked about what was
About
coming
to
up.
unfold.
Yeah, we met the outfitter. The translator was there talking to us, Nas, which she was like our mother goose.
Mother goose.
Yeah. We had a beer. They brought a customs agent to us checked in all of our baggage, all of our guns, right there while we were sitting there drinking beer. It was
Best customs experience ever.
Oh, dude, customer service is not lost over there.
Luxury stopped there.
Yeah.
We all loaded into like a 4Runner,
Yep.
right? And we drove 6 hours, stopped and had lunch at
the outfitter's house,
Yeah.
which he has for the area. It's a very different house. It was nice, but it was just like it seemed like there was a facade, like everything was shiny, and it's like you ever seen those hats where they leave the tags on it so you know it's new. It had that feel to it, because like they were trying to like, hey, no, we're civilized, and we're like, this is very interesting. But like they had a bathroom, but like there was no water in the toilet because they don't really have running water over there, but it's just for show.
They just have like a bucket.
We had a great meal, and they eat a lot of meat, and a lot of like heavy vegetables.
Yeah.
So we had that, and then I don't know I know you remember this. Everybody remembers this part, but they served us this milk drink,
Mare's milk.
Mare's milk. It was horse milk, very smoky, and it was like.
Ooh.
You were going to offend them if you didn't drink it.
Yeah. So they bring this thing out, and it's a white milk. You're like, okay, I can do this, and you drink it, and it has a very odd smoky flavor. Now, what's interesting about Kyrgyzstan, it's very high elevation. There's not a shit ton of trees, so they don't smoke with trees. They don't smoke with wood. They smoke with horse manure.
Yep.
So that horse manure has a very distinct flavor.
I would imagine so.
Very distinct. Gotta get you back there.
Yep. So
one's good. Lactose, not good. You know.
They laugh their ass off. They know.
But they can sit there and drink it all day.
Oh,
yeah, they're just like pounding it.
They switched vehicles. We switched to a harder off-road vehicle.
Oh, this thing was badass.
Yeah, just like
2-inch lift. It had a roof rack. It was snorkel, and
gorgeous.
the thing was, it was legit used. Everything on there was used.
Yeah.
But we're
not like what I see rolling down here in Dallas. It's like no,
it was not a mall crawler.
Yeah, exactly.
Carpool.
I don't think you need a snorkel to get around town east.
But I do remember right before we left, we were switching everything over into the other vehicle, and we weren't allowed to use the bathroom inside. It was the bathroom outside, and that's where everybody uses the bathroom. And it is a literal shed with a hole in the ground.
Mm-hmm.
Outhouse style.
That is
squat over the hole.
Yep,
squat over the hole.
It was
so
absolutely amazing.
It changes your perspective very quickly on what you have.
Yeah.
And how soft we are as Americans.
We are softer.
Super soft.
Like anytime I'm around something like that, I'm like, I feel like I could probably get used to this, but could you imagine your wife?
No.
Like that's my wife's same. I would be like, no way, no way.
No, my wife has one rule. Like she'll camp with me, she'll be outside with me. There has to be a potty.
Yeah.
Yep.
That is like her rule. Like she can go without showering. She's like, if I have to go without a shower for a week, whatever. Like she's like, I won't like it, but I can do it.
I can clean myself effectively.
Yeah. She's like, but there has to be a potty.
So we drove another 6-7 hours.
Mm-hmm.
Right in the middle of the mountains.
I mean, how much? Like a 6-hour drive through that's got to be just incredible. Just like left and right out of both windows.
I mean, we're 3 deep in the back seat. Our outfitter is up front. Our translator is sitting in the passenger seat.
Sardined.
Have you ever been off-roading like a Jeep CJ5 or something?
And
same experience.
Yeah.
It's not particularly pleasurable.
Car sick. I mean, so honestly, the hardest part of my hunt was the grind of the travel there. Because it took forever. In the middle of the mountains, we stop, and there's a checkpoint in the middle of nowhere. There's 2 military guys with automatic weapons, a German shepherd just barking its head off, and they pull everybody out of the truck, get everybody's passports. They, want to look through everything and all that, and then send us on our way. But we finally get to camp and have a pretty good meal. We're staying in a shipping container.
Okay.
Just a big shipping container, and it's framed out on the inside. There's like 4 bedrooms or whatever, but we have a good meal that night. They introduced us to our guides and our assistant guides and all that, and sat in our rifles. It was, real basic, just good evening.
You're missing a key part that the bridge was washed out. So
Oh wow.
so about 3 miles from camp, they cross a river, and the river has a bridge, and it had gotten a ton of rain, so the bridge washed out.
Gone.
So they had to meet us with horses, and we had to do a river crossing, and we're trying to like everything feels rushed for some reason. Like we don't have time. Like so you're like grabbing your shit, you're getting all together, you're like throwing stuff on saddlebags, and I'm probably the only Texan that doesn't really know how to ride a horse, but we're about to learn.
Yeah, real quick.
Yep.
And we began the trek just to base camp, and base camp was like the easiest part to get to from there. I mean,
So
like in a mountain check stop like that, like what was that like with guns? I mean, how was that?
Do you get like a Mexico feeling? Like are we gonna have to pay these federales off, or are we?
Yeah.
Like do they
honestly,
take cigarettes and
I
beer?
was nervous, but the good thing we had was Nas. Like I said, she was really good at talking us through things,
Yeah.
let us know what's going on. Just everybody shut up, everybody be quiet.
Yeah.
We actually got pulled over at one point by the police, and the driver just slid him some money, and she was like, "Everybody just be quiet, everybody be cool,
Yeah.
sit down, shut up."
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
Sit down, shut up, be
But
cool.
she was really good at keeping us in the loop on what was going
So you
on.
knew you were kind of okay. Just
And she was very key to
everybody nod,
Yeah.
everybody smile.
I was with you last night.
Yeah, exactly.
No, so she was very key to our communication, all that, but she was not with us on the mountain.
Yeah.
That was something else. So so day one of the hunt, we woke up, we all pack our stuff, get on our horses, take a group photo, and start the mountain. And we go for a couple hours, and I'm a little bit more comfortable on a horse than the other guys, but we
nope.
It was more of a grind for these guys.
Oh my
for
God.
sure.
Dude,
and you got a pack on your back.
I gave that lead rope to the guide, and I'm like, you do not let this go. I don't know what this thing is.
But so we pull up to this first house, and all these kids come running out of this house. There's no road to this house. This is just a
Cross the country.
right.
Yeah.
So all these kids start running out of the house. These like 4 women coming out of the house, and they have bread and cheese and all this stuff, and all the guides get off the horses and are hugging everybody. And again, no one there speaks English except for us 3, and don't really know what's going on. We're all kind of sitting there talking, and then they tell Taylor to get back on his horse, and all of a sudden Taylor and 2 guys are riding off across the river.
We're gone. Deep river crossing, like up to your. I think it came up mid. Like I was on the back of the horse, came up mid knee, and
Oh
it's
my
flowing
God.
through river, and like that was the start.
Oh, dude.
I
can't even imagine as somebody who's like at all uncomfortable on the back of a horse being that deep in water and not knowing like.
No,
and you're with 2 guys that don't speak
Yeah,
English.
you're like bye. It was nice to be friends with you, David.
I look at Trey and I go, well, check you later.
Yeah. Oh.
I've been places like working where no one spoke the language I do, and that's weird and frustrating enough. But I can only imagine being in the middle of nowhere,
You're like
hunting something with people that you can't communicate with. Really.
Exactly. So
I think it added to it. I thought it was a cool thing.
oh my gosh.
and you learn to get around it. Like,
yeah.
Like my first night in the camp, we sat there and like we figured things out. I would hold something up like a knife, and he would tell me what he calls that, and I would be like, knife, knife, and then he would try to say it, and you start learning.
I mean, human beings can communicate with
Right.
each other regardless. You're like, hey,
Right.
this.
Yeah.
Yeah, like.
But-
And like I think it's just anywhere. Like if you've traveled anywhere to a place, you can kind of figure it out. I mean, I'm not gonna sit there and have a conversation about the weather, but I can say water, bathroom,
Right.
Well, sleep.
I just think we take our being able to communicate with your hunting buddies in a stressful situation or in a a very time sensitive situation on like a shooting opportunity or something for granted. When you have that language barrier, things change pretty quick.
Yeah.
But we
if you cannot be if you have not had much self-guided experience, or if you can't do something on your own, like if you're one of the guys that hires a lot of guides and that you're used to the guides telling you the range, dialing your rifle, and setting up
just kind of putting you down and saying,
yeah,
pull the trigger in that direction.
Asia is not your place because you have to know everything. You have to know, because you're not gonna be able to communicate. They're gonna point you where the animals are, but
that's about it.
That's about it. But it's cool because they're also hunters, and there's a common ground that you communicate with.
I mean, at some point, just the same things. It's just different things we point at as, as Joe Rogan may say, as big hairless monkeys. It's the same. You're the same thing. It's just like that right there. Is
exactly.
Whatever you call it. Well, that's what we got to do.
A lot of hand gestures.
Right.
A lot of.
So as far as I hate to not go backwards, but just trying to get ready for that from a gear perspective. Was it very much different than trying to gear up to go on a big elk hunt out west, or? Yeah,
it was because you're. I think you can get away with a murder on an elk hunt as far as gear. You can honestly hunt Colorado. The guys that wear a lot of technical gear, they won't tell you this, but you're never really too far back on an elk hunt. I mean, and if you're all really far back, we're talking 20 miles in, you have horses. And if you have horses, you have a tent. If you have a tent, you have...
20 miles on a horse, you could just cover that ground.
But
if you had to.
But, it's a different thing on this type of hunt that you have to be very gear conscious, because not only are you having to adhere to, airline requirements on weight, but there's not a lot of space, and there's only so much you can fit on a saddlebag. Yeah. So it's basically you would approach it like you would a backpack hunt. And me and him, we can talk about gear all day long as far as what works and what didn't work. And I'm very gear conscious. Yeah. So getting ready for this was a ton of fun.
What was something you would have you wouldn't have brought on an elk hunt but needed to bring for this?
Well, for
Diamox.
I don't even know what that is.
So the high altitude drugs.
Okay.
Viagra.
You needed Viagra for reasons you wouldn't expect, but I'm a nurse, so that's how I know a little bit more about medications, and I took a lot of high altitude drugs.
Well, we can't just leave the Viagra thing laying there.
Don't worry about that. It goes back into training.
When you're with your buddies in the woods, it stays there, man.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a blood pressure thing, right?
Well, it just saves weight on the tent poles, so you can keep the tent off.
Oh, genius.
So you're packing light, you know?
Exactly.
Mine would be a really small tent.
Yeah. Mine's a bivvy.
No, the Viagra. So you're at high altitude. Altitude is a much lower pressure environment than what you live at down low. So one of the problems that come up with high altitude pulmonary edema is the pressure in your lungs is higher than the pressure that you're used to. So what happens is your heart's pumping in fluid into your lungs and it's breaking stuff. So with the Viagra is a big vasodilator. That's why you get a big raging erection.
Yeah.
Is because the vasodilator. Well,
obvious.
A part of that is you also reduce the pulmonary pressures in your lungs, which will reduce the pulmonary edema that you have, or at least temporarily, so you can get down to lower elevation.
Yeah.
So that's the thought behind it. We also took some non-anabolic steroids like Decadron and a few other drugs that would help get you through should the worst happen. But at those altitudes, you're gonna have signs of altitude mountain sickness. You're gonna have a headache, you're gonna be a little nauseous. So a part of training, you go back to training, I think that's a big part of it, because you cannot underemphasize the amount of shape you have to be in. Because if you don't show up in shape, they're going to put you on lesser animals. They're going to put you on easier animals.
Well, what's the saying? You don't rise to level.
You fall back on your level of training.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
One of the big things I think, as far as training that we implemented, because we like to drink, is training hungover.
Yeah.
So drink heavily the night before, almost on purpose. We did this several times.
Yeah, on purpose. Hey, babe.
Yeah.
One more beer. It's for my training.
I got to train here.
Yeah.
I'm in training.
You got to be dedicated to your sport, right? But you wake up nauseous and hungover, and you got to perform. I think training in that environment is important. So I don't think you need to treat your body like a temple as much as you need to treat it like a truck.
Yeah. So kind of some specialty kind of things. I don't know specialty, but those are kind of good tips. To go do something like that. But was there anything else, just kind of gear wise or anything?
Gear wise, you look at a sheep hunt, like you would prepare for it just like a goat or a sheep hunt in the States. Not that I've been on any sheep hunts or goat hunts outside of Aldad and stuff, but So like it's a drier environment, and you're going to be early season, but it's still going to be high altitude. So you're looking at cold. You can get away with merino up there, but I don't like being wet, so I went with like synthetic base layers. And I think merino over a certain weight is pointless because it holds moisture, and it just doesn't. It takes forever to dry out, longer than you would want. So synthetics, a puffy jacket. Don't skimp on rain gear. A beanie and a hat. Rain gear's huge.
Well, and one thing going into it that I know now that I didn't know going in was, I was the only person in my hunting party with a headlamp. I was the only person in my hunting party with quality binoculars. Those guys don't have that stuff.
Mm-mm.
I mean, one of the guys I was hunting with was wearing a Oakland Raiders starter jacket. I mean, these guys. I left a pair of binoculars there as a gift to my guide, and he was overjoyed.
Just like, holy crap!
Yeah, left him a knife and a pair of binoculars, and he will use that until they fall apart.
Probably, yeah.
I mean that's going to help him make more money, hopefully. Yeah. But yeah, it's taking extra gear on something like that was something I wasn't expecting. Trey, the outfitter we used, kind of prepared us for that a little bit, but I didn't understand the extent of it. I mean, it's the night I shot my Ibex, we got cliffed out, and the guy took the headlamp off of my head and wore it because no one else had a flashlight on him.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it got a little sketchy, but.
And just following somebody with no headlamp down here is sketchy.
Oh.
Let alone oh God, where are we going?
I don't trust people around here that don't have a headlamp in their pack.
This dude keeps one around his gear shifter.
That's a good idea.
Good man.
No,
Yep.
I mean, he's got one on him 24/7.
Yep, and they came in handy up there.
So you guys kind of got to this. You got to this house, right? You rode up to this house together, and there was 3 of you, and so basically, you just kind of pieced out, right?
So I'll run through mine real quick. Mine's a lot quicker than his.
Okay.
So
one other question, real fast. What time of year is this?
August.
We actually left out. I was looking on my timeline today, and we left out I think August 18th, so just out a year ago that we left out. So
wow.
So he leaves. We all get back on the horses. We ride for a couple more hours. We stop at another house, abandoned house in the middle of nowhere. Get off. We kind of have a little lunch, and Trey and I are just talking, BSing, and all of a sudden they tell him to get on his horse, and he goes, "We've been here before. I'll see you in a few days."
Bye. Yeah.
He goes off and goes on his way, and got a really cool picture. One of my favorite photos of the whole hunt was him and I sitting on a rock having lunch together. It was pretty cool. But so I get back on my horse, and we keep following the river. We stop a couple times in Glass, and we later in the day we've been on horseback for 10 hours now, and I feel like we're about to.
Yeah, not a feeling that I'm sure you're accustomed to.
Well, okay, so another piece of gear I took was padded bicycle shorts.
Oh yeah, that was a piece of.
I didn't even think about that. Yeah, padded bicycle shorts for the horseback ride.
And looking back now, I would not have brought underwear. I would have just brought the pair of bicycle shorts.
Yeah.
You're just always on a horse.
Yeah.
For the most part.
So that we start unpacking the horses, and the assistant or the horseman guy starts getting stuff out for dinner, and I feel like we're about to set camp, and the guide is over on the riverbank looking up, and he's like, "Ibex, Ibex, Ibex." So we all jump back on the horses, and we are literally galloping down this riverbank, and he grabs reins, just throws the brakes on. We all stop and pile off the horses, and he grabs me, and this little guy is probably 5'5" at the tallest, 120 pounds. He's wearing rubber boots. We start going up this hill or this mountain, and he is kicking my ass, smoking a cigarette. The dude, I've been training for 8 months for this. I'm wearing $500 pair of boots.
Yeah.
And in the best shape of my life, and this guy's kicking my ass up this mountain, pushing me.
Yeah, let's go, buddy.
But one note on that, I looked back down the mountain, and the other guy has got all the horses circled up, and they're all laying down. How he got all 3 horses to lay down, and he's laying in the middle of them, hiding from these ibex. that are up on this peak. Well,
That's crazy.
That's
yeah,
insane.
it was very impressive.
Yeah.
I was like, holy
Whoa.
shit. Yeah.
The old horse tamer over
right?
here.
So we get up there.
Legit.
We have a waterfall thing going in between us. They're on the next ridge over. It takes us about 20 minutes to get up there. He ranges them 450 yards. Sit there, wait, broadside shot, smoke him. Done deal. He rolls down the mountain a little bit, and it takes us an hour and a half to get to him. So we get up there, get him, take photos, get him skinned out, pitch black dark, and we can't get off the mountain because we have one headlamp again.
Yeah.
So
nice.
we end up sleeping on the mountain and sitting around the campfire and trying to communicate with those guys. It was really cool. Like, they were just as pumped as I was. We had a little bit of the Ibex, but we also had this boiled chicken that was wrapped in. Did y'all have that?
Yes, and
Chicken that was wrapped in foil that they had been eating on all day.
yep.
They eat a lot of candy, but we had a little bit of Ibex, and I ate a Mountain House and set up camp. And I'm looking across this mountain, and it looks like lightning on the other side of this mountain. And I asked the guy, like,
What is that?
I'm like pointing at it, and he's like, no, boom, boom, doing this hand motion like fireworks. He's like, China. So I believe I was like 6 miles from China.
Yeah, from my GPS, from where I stood in the border, like, yeah, it was 6 miles.
Yeah.
Exactly. We were closer
6
closer
miles.
to China than we were our base camp by like triple.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
So I was watching fireworks in China over this
Oh,
mountain,
wow.
apparently. But woke up the next day and packed everything up. I mean, again, I had a much easier hunt. We were riding back into camp, and every house that we passed, that had goats at it, we would stop and go in and give whoever's there a piece of meat.
Okay.
And they would bring out bread and cheese. And it took us longer to get home than it obviously took to get out there, because we stopped at every single house. And it's a tradition there that you stop, and they have to invite you in, and you have to. I mean, this
is just the
complete
way
insult.
it goes.
Sure.
Yeah.
So
Can you imagine that? And like just that kind of. I mean, it would have never happened in an environment. I mean, like where we live, but
Right.
just.
But the people out there look out for each other.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
But also on the way back in, I burned probably a box and a half of shells shooting marmots.
Yeah.
we stopped at one, and there's like this little marmot town, and the guys, they got more jacked up about that than they did the Ibex. They were just fired up. He was sitting there ranging them, and again, communication. When you're having that kind of fun,
Yeah,
communication. Yeah. So shoot some marmots. We get back to camp. I was the first one to camp. Trey followed me a couple hours after. They rolled into camp, and for the next 2 days, it rained and snowed and poured, and I sat in that shipping container and drank cognac and vodka non-stop with the owner of the
Turned
of the
into a
operation.
Russian.
Oh my gosh! But so it got to be a joke throughout the throughout those 2 days. We'd walk over to the one window in the shipping container, and just look up at the top of the mountain and just go, "Poor Taylor."
Poor Taylor.
Well, the guys that couldn't speak English figured that phrase out really
Yeah.
fast.
Poor Taylor. Poor Taylor.
Yeah. But I will say, there was at one point on day 2 that we were sitting there. My translator came. I was taking a nap. My translator sleeping off the cognac.
Yeah.
Translator came in and was like, "Hey, your guide wants you to step outside with him and pray." I was like, "Well,
Why?
yeah, like what's up with that?" We're praying to 2 totally different gods.
Yeah.
Him being Muslim. She's like, "It's gonna offend him if you don't." Well, coming to find out, his brother was Taylor's guide, and we hadn't heard from Taylor and their hunting party for the past 2 days, and
Just clearly out of the ordinary.
yeah, very
Yeah.
very out of the ordinary. So he thought Taylor was my brother.
Okay.
So he wanted to go outside and pray with our brothers together. So it's we stood outside, and he did his thing and whatever. And the very next morning, again sleeping, Nas comes in, the translator comes in, and it's like, "Hey, we just heard from Taylor's hunting party." So Trey and I get our stuff on, and we pack up to this bridge that you have to cross. And we sat there for a couple hours. So honestly, the favorite part of the trip for me wasn't shooting my Ibex, wasn't, any of the drinking or any part of that. We saw Taylor come around the bend in the river, and he crosses this bridge. I mean, borderline tears rolling down his face, pack on, rifle on. I mean, it was just real, raw, emotional moment between hunting buddies. We've been joking about him for a couple days, but, we have no idea what he's gone through.
Yeah.
So, we had a good, trip back and all that, back to the camp, but his story is completely different than mine. So I'll let him pick up from go
you
back
were
to
at you were at a house with a bunch of kids came out with
exactly.
women with bread and cheese, and you took a hard right.
No, so where he's talking about where we came back from the hunt, and I remember crossing that bridge, dude, I got teared up. Yeah, I honestly did not think for several instances I didn't think I was going to make it back safely.
Yeah.
And so from the camp that we were all at, we took a hard right, and then we started gaining elevation. We didn't follow the river. We took a right and just started gaining elevation. We probably gained 4,000 feet to a mountain pass, and then we dropped down. And we did that 4 different times, and we just kept gaining elevation, dropping elevation. We just kept going deeper and deeper, and at about lunchtime we stop at, there's this random yak that lived at high elevation. There's this old building that it was constructed of wood and dung and stuff. It looked like an old sheep herder's cabin. Had lunch there, and I was like, all right, we got to be getting close. Nope. Kept going. So we probably crossed another 2 mountain passes, and we finally, about dark, we kind of nestled in this little saddle. And it's really grassy, and we hobbled the horses and set up camp, and we ate the same chicken. Got in our tent that night, and woke up the next morning ready to rock, and sure enough, they had already spotted Ibex. I'm like, all right, cool. So what they do is they go out and they scout these things out, just kind of like you would an early seed mule deer, right?
Yeah.
And he's like, there's 3 good. He just said 3 chongteke, which is big Ibex. So I'm looking through this. He had a very low end spotter, and I had my binos. I'm like, all right, there's pretty solid Ibex in there, about 3 miles away. So we kind of, if you look at like a basin, right? So we kind of side hilled all the way around the basin to kind of get in shooting position. And we had to drop the horses just because it was kind of getting too rugged. And we get all the way over there, drop 2,000 feet, gain 2,000 feet to kind of get in a shooting position. And I see the Ibex range them, and safety comes off and clouds come in. When clouds come in at 13,000 feet, it's just fog. You can't see.
Right. Yeah.
Wind shifted to our backs, and it took about 2 hours, and when the clouds cleared, the Ibex were gone. Yeah. And I could look on the guides' faces, and that was our shot. That was our ace. Yeah. We're back to square one, and we hunted our ass off that day. We gained probably no less than 4,000 feet between the horses and hiking, because we left the horses kind of at maybe a mile from the actual tents, but we hiked the rest of the day, and we were not finding these Ibex. Yeah. And so we're kind of going back. We get to the horses, and that's where shit just starts getting haywire. The horse, I'm not good on a horse, so we're on this. It's so steep, the saddlebags are rubbing against the side of the mountain, and everything up there, at least where I was at, it's a steep, long shoot to a steep drop off. So it's just a cliff at the bottom of everything. So this horse gets up on his back legs and damn near throws me off, so it freaks me out. And I just get off the horse and try to hike. Well, you can't. Your boots do not get traction up there, and I just slid down maybe 50 feet, and I'm hanging on by my fingernails until they can bring the horse back to me, and we make it back to camp that night. But I had one of those Onyx or the InReach things that has weather on it. So I'm looking at the weather. At this point, I've been out there 3 days, and I'm I'm kind of confused what day it is and how many days we have left. But I'm looking at it, and it is predicting weather rain the next 4 or 5 days. Well, I know I don't have that long to hunt. Yeah. So I'm like, oh, shit, I'm running out of time. We're gonna get weathered in, because if there's fog, you can't glass. Yeah. We get up the next morning, and they're great hunters, because what they did was they took the horses and they went to every saddle that we could find on the mountain and just started looking for Ibex tracks, because we can't see further than, I don't know, we're probably 4 yards away from us. You can't see much further than that, but they were looking for Ibex tracks, and there's happens to be this break in the clouds, and we look over and there's this band of like six billies. And I don't know how the hell he spotted them, because they were a good 1,000 yards away. But we look, and I know what the weather's going to do, but they don't, because they're just hoping it's going to clear out. But I'm looking like the weather's going to get bad. We're fucked.
We're at the beginning of it getting.
Sir.
We are. This is only getting worse.
Like, I cannot believe we found these.
Yeah.
Like I'm going to get weathered out, and I'm not going to shoot anything.
Yeah.
And he's like, he's telling me that this is not as big as you want to shoot, but I'm looking at two of them in there. I'm happy with. I'm like, I'm good. Let's make it happen. It gets a really nasty cut on the side over here. So we leave the horses and we just start dropping elevation. And it's a big, basic kind of like a rock slide, but we're having to kind of mountaineer this. You have like 8-foot ledges, so you're hanging on by the tips of your fingers and then dropping down the last couple inches to kind of get along. And it takes us about 2 hours to get to where we're in a solid shooting position. I look over, and it is a beautiful 160-yard shot, but it is literally like at a 20-degree angle. So we get set up. The shot's nothing remarkable. It's a 160-yard shot.
Yeah, for somebody like you who's like 1,200 yards, and you're like, man.
No, I mean, anyone could have made that shot. You're prone. You have a bipod. I mean,
it's
like
your
that's
basic deer hunting.
Yeah.
Texas.
I have been
feeder shot.
much more unstable on the 200-yard feeder shot than I was on this. The only thing was just this super steep incline, but he was bedded up on this cliff, and he was bedded, so I have no problem shooting a bedded animal if there's any debate on that. And he just drops his head and just slides down the mountain and falls off this 30-foot cliff and then makes his way all the way down to the absolute base of this little mountain. And, we're all high fives, and we're like, shit, we got to figure out how to get to this thing. And there was one section of just like loose gravel where we're like skiing down on our boots. We're kind of slaloming all the way down, and we get to the bottom. Very cool scene. My Ibex is there. We have this giant waterfall that's coming down that I didn't see, and it's
gorgeous photo.
Beautiful. Yeah. This is the highlight of my trip. This is awesome. I came out here. I conquered. We're on day 3 or 4. I'm happy as hell.
And by this time, you're already back in camp, right?
I'm
Probably
drunk. I'm most likely drunk when this is going on.
Then we start feeling raindrops. So we quickly now. The eat what you kill thing is not universal. So we couldn't get the horses down. We couldn't get them near where we were at.
Yeah.
So we get it skinned out, and he's packing up. We're about to leave. I'm like, so what are we gonna do with this meat? What are we doing here? No horse, no meat. Can we take the back strap? Yeah. Fillet? Yeah. So we cut out the fillet, but he's like, I'm not taking any more.
No, I'm not hauling this shit.
Yeah, that was kind of the
not up
opinion.
A rock ski slope.
Yeah, that's exactly it. He's like, I'm not taking this out, and we had weather coming in, so we grabbed what meat we could, and we took turns with the pack, and we're getting up, and the more we gain elevation, it gets wetter, and it quickly turns to sleet, and sleet turns to snow, and shit's getting slick, and we still got like a couple miles till we get to the horses, and we got a lot of elevation to gain. So we get to the top, finally get to the horses, and it is just coming down in buckets of snow and everything's sticking. So I thought we were going to sit on the mountain that night.
Yeah.
No, that was not his idea.
No, he's like, no, we're out of here.
Because apparently, come to find out, you get snow that early, you get snowed in. Like, there's no getting out. The horses do not have traction in that. Yeah. As we found out, that you're stuck up there till it could be the first snow. And it might not thaw out till the next spring at that elevation, so you could be stuck up there. So it wouldn't
I think this is a good spot to talk about where the guides and the people over there think about Ibex versus Marco Polo. The Marco Polo are at the little bit lower elevations. Mm-hmm. They really, they're a much more expensive animal.
Yeah.
But hunting over there, the guides would rather go after the Ibex because they're the prize, right?
I think Roosevelt wrote the Teddy Roosevelt's sons, the Kermit Roosevelt. They wrote about in their book that the Ibex was the actual prize, that they were shooting Marco Polo for camp meat.
Yeah.
But the Ibex was a trophy.
But I mean, just to take a look at the difference of elevation that
Yeah.
you're hunting, I mean, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So the snow is, I mean, when it snows, and
Yeah,
it's
you're
not
not-
going anywhere.
Well, you're not going, and
Yeah.
you're not hiking this. Like, you can't. It clogs your boots, the mud cakes, and then it's not inconvenient. It's flat out dangerous. Like I said, it's a long, steep slope to a very tall drop off.
Yeah.
So we start making our way out, and it just starts piling up and piling up and piling up. Now it's simultaneously beautiful. You know, you have this Ibex horns hanging out the saddlebag, and you know, it's this fresh snow. But like, I keep thinking like, that's the mountain range, and then we're gonna make it back into camp, and that wasn't the case.
Yeah.
My horse kept slipping. I had the most shitty horse. She didn't like me.
Which is just, I mean, I can't even
had a
imagine
horse.
for like, but just like, just trying to, as like somebody who is like, I grew up around horses. It's just like a second nature thing for me, but I can appreciate somebody who's not like, I mean, just on us going like over here to Lake Grapevine and getting a couple horses and riding around the lake, if you're not comfortable, that
Sure.
can be like,
Well,
uh-oh.
I'll make this comparison. Him on the back of a horse is like me, my stepson handing me his hoverboard. Thing. Like, I don't know what the hell
It's
is going on.
only a matter of time until you hurt yourself.
Yeah, but he makes it look so easy.
Yeah.
And then you get on it, it looks super uncomfortable. And
I'd been on a horse twice before this, and both times I got thrown off. So
Yeah,
I'm
I mean-
already not a fan of horses,
In an elevation like that with slipping and tripping and
and huge consequences.
Oh.
So we finally make it down to like this little river, and I just got like a super sinking feeling that something bad was about to happen. So I'm like, I'm gonna walk across this river. So I get off. Not 10 seconds later, my horse slips and falls on its back on the middle of the river and won't get up. Like, now, so I'm like thinking, like, man, if that was me, my leg would be broken, my femur
Yeah.
would be busted, and all my like my rescue stuff, like for my GPS, is in my like
it's
little side thing.
underneath the
It's
horse.
done. Like, I'm
Yeah.
fucked, and there's no getting out of this. Like, it's too
There ain't a
slick.
helicopter coming for you
Yeah,
either.
no,
They're
no,
like, you die here. Bye.
No, and that was a legitimate fear. So like, if I would have just like decided to tough it out there, like, it's a very humbling experience. If I would have just been like, no, I got this, I would have been pinned under that horse, and it would have been a very different story.
I can't even imagine.
It would have sucked. I don't know if I would have died, but it had the right like ingredients for that to happen.
For like at least something pretty perilous to happen for sure.
And everything's freezing and sticking, and so the horse won't get up. It's exhausted. And about 10 minutes later, and 10 minutes of whipping the underside of it with like one of those little horse whip things they have, it finally decides to get up. Now I get on there, like the saddle's already freezing as I'm getting onto it, and we start making our way up. And at this point, it's still daylight, but it's getting darker. And I noticed the guides are like talking more to each other, and they're kind of like pointing. And I'm like, what are they doing? It's getting darker. I'm like, man, this is a long time.
It doesn't take a human being long enough to go. Whatever they're talking about,
It's like,
is
but
like a.
but it's like coming to a crescendo. Like they're getting more heated about it, and now the sun is still coming. Like now it's dark, and the only thing I can see is like just like snow pellets pelting me in the eye, and we're going down this little pass, and my horse fucking slips. I'm kind of used to it at this point, but the damn thing lands on me, and I slide down. The horse slides down. The guides are looking at each other, and I'm like, oh shit, we are lost. They don't have a clue where we're at.
Yep.
They lost the trail.
I only know that because I remember how Grinch looked.
That is the
Putting your stock pond.
Oh my god.
No, the compass is wrong.
yeah. Well, they don't have a compass
Things.
or headlamps. I'm just trusting
That's
them.
universal.
Like they have to have this. Nope, they're lost. They don't know where the trail is. So we decide that it's too steep, that we're probably gonna get cliffed out, or that I figured that's what they decided, because we went back up the 1,000 feet we just lost and start looking for the trail, and we search for it. We go back and forth until they finally find it, and then we're still another 4 hours back, and just a grind on the back of that horse. And we finally get to we start getting closer and closer, and as we drop elevation, the snow starts kind of letting
You're like
up.
starting to see places. Hopefully, you're like, okay, feel like I've been here before.
Yeah, but then again, like I felt like everything was like that. Like
Yeah.
I mean, you're just rocks and river.
Yeah, the thing about this is it's completely different than the Rockies. There's no trees.
Yeah.
Like there's no landmarks.
Yeah,
really.
you're just
everything
like-
looks the same.
Well, I can only imagine. Like, I mean, I've been in blizzards and stuff like that, but like, I've kind of know where I'm at. You have a GPS or a general knowledge of where you're at, but there's none of that where you're at. Like, you don't have that. Like,
And there's no
you're
one to
hoping the guys
communicate
in
with,
front of you,
Right.
which is even, I think.
Yeah,
you're hoping the guys in front of you know where they're going.
Yep.
But
that's
I mean, if all four of us got
basically what you
stuck in
paid
a
for.
similar situation, I think we would all that we would draw some comfort that we could communicate about it and we
Sure.
could be on the same page. Being by yourself and you're like,
Well, you get that foxhole mentality
Yeah.
when you're in that.
Yeah.
Like everybody's coming together.
Yes.
Like you're with your band of brothers out there. I mean, you're just
you're with two
You're-
dudes who are like
you're the-
arguing over where
Right.
which direction to go. And you're
privileged
like,
white guy.
Yeah, you're
trying not to like have the horse fall.
I'm trying not to complain.
This
Also
guy can't
trying
ride a horse and we're lost. Like,
What do you
That is
say
exactly-
we ditch the dude and we get out of here?
Exactly.
we can make this guy disappear
Exactly.
and no one will care.
Yeah, the
No,
gringo
no.
stays behind.
no,
He
no.
even made us pull meat out.
This asshole wanted to pull and the animals out. That's oh my god. So you're just, I mean, you're not even back yet.
No,
You're just-
no. I remember this. There's like a Russian, like like the culverts and like where you'd build like say there's a ditch and there's like a concrete culvert, like a bridge
Yep.
to drive over. I remember about 4 hours into our ride back in that we crossed one that was an old Russian road that they used to develop a little bit of this area. And I remember crossing that, like we're at the 12-hour mark, and I'm like, I was like, we're almost there. We only got 4 hours left, and I know where we're at, ish, to kind of get back to where we are. And so the last was pretty unremarkable. We get back to, we didn't go all the way back to base camp. We went to the one of the guide's wives, or one of his little shacks there, that had his wife's dad and his dad that were living in this little. It was maybe the size of the like a 20 by 20 room, right? But the only way we get there, I'm exhausted. Like I've been put through the
Can't
ringer.
imagine.
Just freaking. I've not been that tired ever. Just beat. Hadn't had anything to eat.
Mentally, I'm sure you're just like
I'm whipped.
worn out. Oh,
So dehydrated as all get out, and then I go in there, and there is a it's a very modest setting, but there is this over life size. So it went from the top of the wall all the way to the floor poster of a Dion de Jour perfume poster that I don't know who packed this in, but it was like out of France. Like it was like this really very surreal thing.
Fancy.
Kind of like
Very
Kind of like
fancy,
the
like-
Marfa.
The Marfa Prada store, like it was.
Prada store in the middle of Marfa,
I took a
Texas.
picture of it, but they take me in their bedroom, and like they only have one bedroom, so I slept on the floor next to the guy and his wife, and woke up the next morning, and all those clouds were gone, and I'm looking at my Ibex, and I'm like, I fucking did it.
I made it.
Yeah.
Greatest
Oh my
thing
God.
ever.
Yeah, so we made it back, and that's where I saw them. And yeah, I teared up, man. I legitimately did not think it was going to end well, but it did.
I can't even I just get a sense of like the anxiety of which you had. I mean, like just trying to go to sleep at like go back 2 days when you're just trying to go to sleep and you're just like, you know, like
Yeah.
Yep.
just how does this work?
I was dealing with the anxiety with the cognac. I
Yeah.
had the same level of anxiety.
I mean,
sure.
yeah, at least you're back at camp. Like, didn't we have a third person with us? Oh, we did.
We were eating my Ibex every meal.
Yeah.
It was great. I mean, we were living like kings.
No.
We had a
The look on your face was
No.
priceless.
They had
right
they had
there.
another
Nah,
little
that's-
shed that was, they called it the shower room, but it was a sauna, and I would spend like an hour a day in
Yeah,
there.
it's like,
But
great.
so he gets back to camp.
So
We
you
spent-
almost died.
Yeah, no, like there's definitive moments in your life, and there was a before Kyrgyzstan and after Kyrgyzstan outlook on life, and there's a definite shift that happened there.
So the same shift for me, and we've talked about this before, and I have even talked to Shannon about this. Like, I'll have a bad day, and Shannon will ask me, "Well, how's your day?" Well, I didn't shit in a hole today.
Yeah.
And that's a literal thing.
Yeah.
Like, you got to take things into perspective, because those guys over there are so appreciative for everything they have, and we take so much for granted. Like, I complain, like, True Green came today, and I talked to the technician that was fertilizing my yard. I was like, dude, weeds are kind of popping up in the backyard. What's up, dude? I'm paying y'all. And I come back inside the house, I'm like, does that really matter?
Yeah.
Like, in the grand scheme of things, when you boil it down, like, I should be appreciative that I live in the neighborhood I do and have the things I have, and I have running water and electricity.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the perspective I took coming home is, as Americans, we are so soft. And I think people don't realize how soft we are.
Yeah.
I mean, I went into this thinking, I was in the best shape of my life. I've trained my ass off. And the mental grind going there and doing everything, and, it was the hardest part for me because I could not prepare for that. And seeing how happy these people were, it wasn't even what they have. It was just being in company with people that they cared about, and the meals we had, and what a big presentation it was just to spend time with people you love and care about. Like, that's stuff we all take.
Yeah.
Like, I complain about going to Thanksgiving and going and spending time with my family. I complain about it, and these people are just happy to be there.
Yeah.
So it's something that's the biggest takeaway I took, or came home with, from I would call it a third world country. That it's something totally different.
I mean, there's no doubt it's got to be a third world country.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
pretty close.
I'll tell you. So we make it back to Bishkek, and Hurricane Harvey kept us there for a couple days.
5 days.
Yeah, we could not get back to Houston, and I'll tell you, our travel agent was answering the phone at 3 a.m. and
Oh my God.
trying to get us, hey, I can get you here, I can get you here, I can get you here, but we cannot get you back to Texas. I can get you, to Istanbul, but you're gonna have to stay in Bishkek. So we explored Bishkek for the next 5 days. We smoked hookah, we drank vodka like you wouldn't believe. We got massages.
$15 for 90 minutes.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And not the special massage.
No.
Like legit, honest
Yeah.
massage.
Right,
like,
right, wink.
Yeah.
No, it was.
But $15 in
All that Viagra finally got
don't
put to
worry.
use, huh?
I promise your wife does not listen to our
Yeah,
podcast.
yeah.
But yeah, so we got a massage the first day back. Just, your legs and shoulders.
Dude,
were
I
up.
can't even imagine just like on a horse, like just such a like walking would be like if you just hiked with a pack would be better than riding a horse because you're like, holy shit, that muscle even exists in my
Right.
body. I didn't even because you're not like you trained your ass off, but you didn't train to ride a horse,
Right.
You
didn't
trained
train
to
take an ass pounding.
Yeah, exactly.
What riding a horse is. Like, I don't care how you want to slice
Straight
it.
up.
It really is.
it's just like a different
Very-
experience to like hunt off of a horse like that. I'm sure, like for days too.
Nope.
Not like So you clearly would have shot in a situation in a moment and ate your horse. Did you at least have a good experience with your horse?
So
Yeah.
I'm much more experienced on the back of a horse.
Yeah.
So my horse tried to bite me the first day. Turned around and tried to bite me on the knee, and her and I had a come to Jesus meeting. We had an understanding
Yeah.
that I would not kick her to go faster if she didn't turn around and bite me. But outside of that, mine was solid.
Yeah.
Mine was in a alpha war with the number 2 horse of who was better, so they kept getting into it, and then it would try to it would always rear up because it was a little shithead, and I fucking hated this horse.
God.
Well,
Do you remember the horse's name?
Bismillah.
Bismillah.
It's
Beautiful.
awesome.
Beautiful.
I think that's a tattoo.
Bismillah.
Yeah. Did
Yeah,
you
I'm
guys
just
do-
saying, I know.
Yeah, he's
it doesn't matter
averse
to
to
me.
tattoos.
That's not a bad idea. Like you look at the star-crossed lovers that get the tattoos and they get crossed
Do the
out.
neck
You do a
tattoo,
neck tat with Bismillah crossed
Bismillah.
out.
What a story.
Who's that?
Danielle would love that.
One of my mares.
One
Damn
of
near,
my mares.
one of my mares.
One of my mares.
Damn near killed me.
Yeah. She likes to lay down in water. It was not cool.
Not cool at
Try to
all.
fall off mountains.
Yeah, she tried to kill me in a bathtub one time.
So
long story.
long story. So just like so obviously you got trapped. And plus then you're dealing with you have a buddy who lives in Houston.
No, he lives in Denver, actually.
Oh, okay, cool.
He met
So
us
he
in
just
Houston.
met in Houston.
Yeah.
Okay. 'Cause
Same
I was
guy
like-
we went to Colorado with a couple
Okay.
weeks ago.
I was gonna say because trying to deal with hey I'm in a stand
Yeah.
and it's the biggest hurricane that's hit Texas since the
But
20s.
like I said, Neil and Brownlee hooked us up with their travel agent, and I'm telling you, she answered the phone anytime we
Whenever,
called.
yeah.
She lined out the hotel because we weren't planning on staying in a hotel. She lined out. She's like, "This is the nicest hotel in Bishkek." It was $80 a night or something, and it was a 5. It would 5-star.
It was nice.
It was
a Coyote Ugly across the street.
Yeah, it was one of the only hotels.
There was a Coyote Ugly there.
Straight up.
You're like, whoa.
Let's tap the brakes on.
I don't know if it was a licensed Coyote Ugly, but it definitely.
But they named their bar Coyote Ugly. That was. I mean, there was probably some Coyote Uglies in there.
She did tell Trey. I mean, if I remember correctly, not all hotels have running water or a personal bathroom. Like we had our own bathroom in our room. Other hotels would have like a couple bathrooms for the entire floor.
So it's like what? How many days were you out in like the backcountry?
5
or 6. We probably spent equal amount of time because of the delays associated with Hurricane Harvey.
So you roll out five days with Ibex like horns and the whole thing into a hotel, and what is that whole experience like?
Well, so we didn't. Who had the horns? I guess John.
No, we gave him to John, who gave him to the actual guy that kind of pulls the strings as far as.
So
ships them back
our
and everything.
Asian contact over there took us to dinner one night, and I totally forgot about this part. We went to a Korean restaurant and actually ate dog.
Yeah, we did.
But he told us it was on the menu. I was like, well, we're here. We need
Gotta
to try
do
it.
this.
Yeah. So we actually ate.
I made fun of
Spaniel.
this, about going to a Chinese food restaurant. So got to eat it while I'm over here.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
You got to try it.
What was that like?
It was not the best thing we had, honestly. The restaurant had some legit good food, but like the dog was meh.
If you wouldn't have told me it was dog, it would have been different. But
yeah, it was a mental.
But that goes back to the like culture thing. Other cultures eat horse like it's no big deal. I don't know if you listen to Renella's podcast.
Absolutely.
Horses.
It's the size of eyes and the length of eyelashes, right? Thing. And it was just, if you didn't tell me it was dog, I would have thought, this is just okay meal.
Yeah.
But it being dog, it was like.
That held to a higher standard. It better be freaking delicious for it to be dog for me to anyway.
I mean, just the fact that somebody like Steve Renella and Remy Warren, who are just like, they'll eat anything, ate it, and we're like, I just can't. And I'm with you, man. I would have such a hard time, like mentally getting over that. And as
this right here, the zebra.
Yeah.
I ate the zebra the night we killed it and could not get over the horse thing.
Just could not get it mentally.
I could get over a horse thing pretty quick. Like after seeing it, because we went to they have a market there.
We just had Broomhilda.
I would eat that freaking horse. I would eat it alive.
I forgot about the meat market we went to.
We went to a meat market and they had they had the horse hearts, they had the horse everything.
Yeah, they have a special relationship with the horse over there. They rely on it for everything. They're nomadic people in that country, but at the same time, they rely on the horse for everything, for food, for transportation, for work. I mean,
if you look at the culture, they're very similar to they remind me of like what you would expect like a Mongolian to look. Mm-hmm. So although we're talking Muslim, but like you think like the people that live on the steppe from Mongolia, so they have a very different relationship with the horse. That culture they would cut the jugular or the vein to drink the blood to provide them sustenance as they're going on these long trips. So like their relationship is very unique. They revere the horse, they respect the horse, but they'll eat a horse.
Yep.
Yeah,
in a heartbeat.
I mean, I just think they just don't. I think options are when you don't have the option to do it, and I mean, we were talking about like on Renella's podcast. I know we've talked about it a couple times, but it's just such a good point sometimes of talking about like New Jersey. I think said something about trying to kill 200,000 deer this year, and you would like almost think like that's a lot, but we killed that in cows every 2 days in this country.
Yep.
Like
that's crazy.
400,000 cows
that
every 2 days get killed in this country, and we're like cool with that. And I mean, I tell you, trying to engage with people who are non-hunters and who are like who just it's not their way of life is like I connect with them more often than not when you have that kind of a conversation. You're like, okay, so you're fine with cows, but you're not fine with me going and doing this. Like that, how is that? And when you present that kind of hypocrisy to them, they're like, okay, I get that.
But you're doing it right. So,
Yeah.
like we were talking about earlier, you inviting people over
Yeah.
and serving them wild game in,
Yeah.
in your house, and you're kind of the go-to guy in the office.
Yeah.
Hey, Abe's got
Gotta get my
some deer
fix.
meat. Yeah, I want to make some deer chili for Christmas, or you're doing it right because you're a good, you're
Yeah.
a shining light in your office space. But we can
There's
get on.
also 12 other dudes that probably exist in my office that are like, shoot it in the face.
Yeah.
And, I don't care.
But
and,
we can get on the whole social media tangent on like how social media people. I mean, that's a whole nother thing.
Yeah.
But it's, I don't know. Like I said, I think you're doing it right, and I think it's just something that people need to keep in perspective on.
Absolutely.
Why we hunt.
It's a very privileged thing to be able to choose your diet.
Yeah.
So if you're snubbing your nose up at horse or dog, you live in a privileged society. If you claim to be a
Amen.
vegan, you live in a very privileged society because there's no one in one of these countries that is turning their nose up at a meal.
Amen.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, whatever it is, I'm going to
Yep.
eat what's in front of me.
Well, like I said, we were eating moldy bread, and God knows how old that cheese was, in each little stop we took, and they were just happy to have
It was
meat.
like, this is their...
Yeah,
By the
they
way-
were happy to get just a cut of meat, even if it was the worst cut of meat on the Ibex. They were just happy to get it.
The boiled chicken, Dave Ford will begin to mold.
Yeah,
Yeah. And you're like, I'm going to...
No, I ate it, man. I was starving.
Yeah, no, that
we
kinda-
just ate around
Right,
it.
but over
So-
here, like people are like, man, that chicken's probably been out for too long.
Throw it
I
away.
might get
it's been
sick.
sitting in the
like,
refrigerator for 3 days.
Yeah.
Yeah,
In perfect-
Throw it in the trash.
Yeah.
Yep.
Over there, still
Nope.
eating it.
It's been
So-
under my saddle. It's fine. It's heated up.
Yeah, the horse warmed it up.
Yep.
There you go.
So, like, what was, like, so you obviously, like, both camped out, like, and, like, what was that kind of environment? Like, just, like, at night when you're kind of, like, just, you're kind of just hanging, I mean, you're kind of just done for the day kind of deal. What was that whole process like?
Well, for me, like I said, I mean, we would sit around the campfire, and I would hold up different
Items?
different stuff, and he would tell me his word for it, and I would tell him mine, and he tried a lot harder to learn my language than I tried his, and
Yeah.
that's a regret I have. I know Taylor's really good at remembering his horse's name, and I remember the T and Sean's, but and Issaquah, right?
Issaquah is the big lake,
the
yeah.
big lake that we stopped at. But outside of that, I mean, I did not, being a privileged
Yeah.
American, I did not soak that part of the trip in as much as that's my biggest regret on the trip. But I don't know. It was fun, and in the evenings, like I said, I got to watch the fireworks over the mountains, and it was slept in a $9 tent from Academy.
Yeah,
It's
they
just a
had
pop-up
very
tent.
subpar. My guides had Hillybergs, and they gave me a Coleman tent, and I think they thought they were giving me the better tent
Yeah.
but
Well, mine was like one of those sunshades you put in your windshield when it's hot.
Yeah.
It just folded up. They just pulled it out of the thing and threw it in the air, and it popped out.
that
I
is
was
one
like,
thing I would change. I would bring my own tent
Yeah.
when I go again. Learning the language, I tried to learn it before I went, but it's a mixture of Kyrgyz and Russian. Like they it's a fluent back and forth between the two. And I have a friend that lived in Russia for a while, and he's like, "You're not gonna learn it."
Yeah.
No.
But I learned Big Ibex is Chong Teke. Teke is Ibex, so Chong Teke.
Yep.
And that was the extent of my Kyrgyz / Russian.
So you're like, whoa, I got that one. Yeah.
Chong Teke. Because we'd go
Go
back.
to Master Mesa and
that was my, no, I take
I'm
that
covered
back.
in 2 countries now.
That was one of my favorite things was I taught them. So Tuman is clouds.
Okay.
So I taught them fucking, and they taught me Tuman. So as the clouds were coming in and the mountains were getting rough, they would start fucking Tuman, fucking mountain,
Fucking mountain.
and we just kept saying that over and over as the weather got bad. It was just fucking Tuman, fucking mountain.
I mean, there had to have been, a kind of an unspoken bond that both of you formed with your respective guides, I'm sure.
Well, sure. I mean,
Yeah.
my guide asked me to come out and pray with him.
Yeah.
Knowing that I obviously wasn't Muslim, but
Yeah.
we had that respect for each other, and I think as hunters, you have that respect,
Mhm.
and you have that, even though you couldn't communicate with your guys, you have that foxhole mentality.
Yeah.
Like we're out here, embrace the suck. That's
Yeah.
Embrace the suck.
Embrace the
Embrace
suck.
the suck.
So, I think that's part of that's a universal language. even though you can't communicate with somebody, you still, I mean, you're hunters.
Yeah.
And you're out there for the same purpose and all that.
I mean,
and
what
you
do
get
they
each other.
say is like? I mean, what is like verbal communication forms like 10% or some like outrageous number, right? Of like communication, like you communicate more with, and so like I feel like that's just like you know what's going on. I mean, you didn't speak a damn word except for cloud and
big Ibex.
Yeah, big Ibex. That's all you knew, but you still knew. Like you were like, oh, something's not right here.
Yeah, I know we're lost.
Yeah, this ain't good. This is we're
The universal sign for I don't know where the fuck I'm at.
Yeah.
pointing. No, that's that direction.
So, I know coming out of this trip, like, I enjoy the international side of things. I've been to Canada, been to South America, been to Africa, but Taylor has really got bit by that bug.
Oh.
So he's planning. Well, tell him what you got planned for the next couple years.
Going into this hunt, like I knew Ibex existed because I've obsessed about them. In Fort Worth, we have a zoo that has a big Bezor Ibex, and I'd always obsessed about it and never thought I could afford it until this came up. So I always thought in my head that you had to hunt all the North American stuff before you went international, and that's a big mistake because the biggest bang for your buck is international. You get culture, you get adventure, you get everything you think you're paying for here is tenfold over there. So I went ahead and booked. There's 2 hunts that are regarded as the hardest mountain hunts in the world. One that I think we're going to commit on going in Azerbaijan, which is for the Dagestan Tur, which is the Caucasus Mountains.
Looking forward to that one.
It's a lower. It's a very cool looking goat. It is regarded as one of the hardest mountain hunts, and it's a cool looking goat. And it's a lower elevation, but very steep mountains and very dangerous. And then the other one that is also regarded, and they go back and forth between what's harder. I think you got to go on both, and I'm planning on going on both. But my next one is in Nepal.
Crazy ass looking animal.
Nepal. You just Google that.
Nepal. Yeah. So I booked a hunt for blue sheep, the Himalayan blue sheep, which is in Nepal. So you're hunting the same mountains that Everest is in.
Right.
You're hunting at anywhere from 16 to 19,000 feet. I think maybe 18, somewhere around there.
This thing looks like an aoudad had sex with a water buffalo.
The thing's badass.
It's crazy ass looking.
They're very cool looking. So that's the Tur. Now, if you look at
You post that up and just be like, you'll get it. You'll get it if you see it
crazy.
right now.
Yeah, that thing is a very
before the
impressive
podcast comes out, just be like.
Now you compare
on.
that to a mountain goat in North America. They have white things and little bitty anemic looking horns, and like, like all right. So what would you rather hunt? Like, would you rather hunt this or this? And, well, if you don't know anything about them, well, that thing's 10 times more impressive. Their horns get to 40 inches long.
And I can tell you the price of the hunt is that one's probably cheaper.
That is cheaper than a mountain goat here
Dude,
in North America.
I was at Archery Country for Full Draw, and they had just finished a mountain goat. And they were like, that guy paid like $40,000 to go on that thing. I'm like, holy shit.
Something like that's probably, 12, 14?
I mean...
in North America, door to door is like... So that... A couple things. So the blue sheep is very unimpressive looking and not very... It's a connoisseur's animal.
It's a dumb looking...
I'm trying to get David to go. Because I think...
no desire to hunt blue sheep.
I think
he's awesome, dude.
He's looking for somebody to go with him.
I need David
no one
to
else
go.
has that in their collection.
This thing?
Yeah.
Pretty close, yeah.
You Google blue sheep, a blue sheep comes up.
BHARL, burl, I think is what they call it, but blue sheep, Himalayan blue sheep. It's regarded as one of the hardest, finest mountain hunts.
No.
I would love to just go to the Himalayan. But
I would
to
too.
hunt there.
Yeah, and that requires a 14-day itinerary, and it's all you can't get horses in the area, but which goes back to like cost. So we look at like the traditional aspect of like an international hunter. These guys going on these big mountain hunts overseas, you think very wealthy, like they're very not in touch.
Yep.
And
but you're thinking about Argali, and Marco Polo, and Marcor. That's.
I would say David and I are about as blue collar as it gets. We joke that we are the brokest clients of Neil and Brownlee by a long shot.
Yeah.
I'm a nurse. Like I have, I do okay. My wife does okay. But we're not like raking in bucks. But I think these hunts, like you talk about hardcore, and everybody they want to talk about hardcore as being like this public land guy that goes out and gets it done. Well, is that hardcore? Or is working in overtime to pay for something that you really want to do? Hardcore?
Taking your lunch every day. You know,
Or
like not going out a little bit here and there.
Picking up extra shifts.
Yeah.
Like right now I'm working 7 shifts this week to help pay for this, and I'm skipping on a deer lease. I'm not. My hunts are very minimal right now.
But then you turn around, you're making up that hunting opportunity with public land.
Yeah, and that's how I make up for it. I think you can do both.
Yeah, no doubt.
You don't have to be totally exclusive. I think as soon as you label yourself as an only public land DIY guy, well, you're just totally limiting yourself to what else is out there.
Well, I'll tell you that an Ibex hunt in Kyrgyzstan is probably very comparable to a private landowner tag in Colorado. Would you say?
Yeah.
Door to door? Yeah. That elk, that 330 inch elk right there, if you would go pay a dude in Colorado right now to go shoot one of those on a guided hunt, you're probably going to pay more for that than you will on this Ibex hunt.
That Ibex hunt. It's really people. I think the
it's
scary
a distance thing, right?
Yeah, I think the scary part is the time away, the not knowing. But if you have I feel like we're sitting here trying to sell Neil and Brownlee.
No,
but if you have a contact that can walk you through it all and get you all the paperwork and everything, and talk you through it, and someone that can answer all your questions that has been there and done it, it's so settling. Like we didn't have to do anything, just sign some paperwork.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah. And if you would hear about, there's a lot of hunters that go over there, a lot of international, very wealthy. If something was gonna happen, it would have already happened, but you don't hear about it because. Like we're 6 miles from China. We could have been 6 miles from Tajikistan. We could have been 6 miles from,
Neil and Brownlee sends people to Pakistan.
Yeah, so you're fine.
You're probably more likely to get into a car wreck and hurt yourself here than to have something bad happen over there.
Or get into a fight at a public boat ramp during duck season.
Exactly.
Get hit upside hit upside the head with a boat oar or something.
Yeah.
But you're not getting abducted by.
That's never
I've witnessed
happened.
that.
Yeah.
I meant me getting hit with a boat.
Oh. Wait, who was it? I might know the guy. Because the guy that told me the story did the swinging.
It was I just think that it's like so fascinating to kind of like expand your horizons though, and to do something like that, and to just to immerse yourself in another set of culture. Take the hunting aside from it. Just you got to go to a place that you would never have gone to. You're not. Your wife's not like, hey, what do you think about going to a stand and go hunting?
Do you want to go to Cancun or Kyrgyzstan?
Kyrgyzstan or Cancun.
Well, it goes back to the day we booked this. This was a country I'd literally never heard of.
Yeah.
Like I did not know existed. It's not much bigger than Nebraska, right?
No, it's about the same. Yeah, exactly.
It's the same size as Nebraska. So
I posted a picture on my Instagram of the true size of, and you lay the size of Kyrgyzstan over Texas, and it is nowhere near as tall, and it is nowhere near as wide. It was like from
Austin.
Yeah.
No, it's like it's like from
proper.
I'd say from Midland, Odessa to maybe like Shreveport, maybe.
Yeah. Oh,
maybe that wide, and it is from Austin to Dallas tall.
Oh wow,
that's very
it's
small.
very
But
tall.
it takes forever to travel
sliver.
across it because the road system sucks. No one over there can drive, and you're in the mountains.
Yep.
Yeah.
Every time I've gone over, like I've been to Siberia, and then I've been in like actual Russia, like Moscow, and it's just weird watching people drive over there.
Yeah.
Like,
it's different things.
You think traffic here is bad?
Yeah.
Try doing
35's nothing.
Yeah, I know.
Try doing it at 60 miles per hour.
Have you
with,
driven
like,
through
cars
Temple
standing
Mountain?
still.
It's pretty bad right now.
Yeah.
They did everything but like drive on the sidewalk, dodging people.
Yeah. That's
Well,
a different thing.
But yeah, back to the point, like he's been bit by that international bug big time. I think there's something to be said about the culture, and like with me, I want to do it, but there's other, like everybody has goals, right? Like you have
gotta
a top
check those
10
boxes.
or top 5 list, yeah.
Gotta check
So
those
as
boxes.
hunters, you all, whether it's to kill a public land Kansas deer or hunt a argali in Tajikistan or something. Whatever it is, everybody has goals, and I see him. His shift has completely gone from elk and moose and caribou and all this stuff to what can I chase over there?
I wanna.
Yeah.
Well, and that kind of just goes to kind of what you're saying though. Like a lot of that too is one of those things where it's like people have different goals. Like don't shit on people's what they like to hunt.
Sure.
Like, just be stoked that they like to hunt.
Right.
Yeah.
In general, like
we're all on the same team.
I mean,
Well, and that's a whole nother conversation of traditional bow hunters look down on compound bow hunters.
And that's where I was going with that. Like
and crossbow hunters, and then rifle hunters. I mean, we're all public land, private land, deer hunters, elk hunters. I mean,
we're hunters.
Yeah, we can all fight amongst ourselves, but at the end of the day, we're all in it.
Yeah.
I think,
and not just that, but like look at other people's hunts. Like I never really thought about it, but now I'm kind of like,
this would be awesome.
Maybe I should look into this. Like go outside your comfort zone when you're hunting.
I completely agree. Minus turkey hunters. Turkey hunters are stupid.
Yeah.
No one likes turkey.
Yeah. Anyone that says turkey hunting is like elk hunting, that's debatable.
I've heard that, and I was just like,
yeah, I like to turkey hunt, but
yeah, I'm not opposed. I just comparing turkey hunting.
I don't know if I compare it to elk hunting.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a guy I work with. His name's Jeff. He's head of our product development, and like the first employee of Drake Waterfowl. He's a hardcore turkey hunter. He looks down on people that use a decoy. He's that guy. He's hardcore and he's passionate about it. And I love that passion. Yeah, I love that passion that you get him talking about turkey hunting, and you can see it in him. But he wants
dumb.
he wants to compare Eastern turkeys to Rocky Mountain elk. I'm like, shut up.
Yeah,
I thought I was having a intelligent conversation here.
You got to give other hunters shit like you'd give your little brother shit. There's nothing but love except for turkey hunters, but
exactly.
That's fun.
Turkey hunting and fly fishing.
Turkey hunting and fly fishing.
Yeah.
Fly fishing is essentially the figure skating of the outdoors. So.
Oh shit!
I can't agree with that. I'm bit so bad right now with the fly fishing thing. It's like, and really fly tying has become even a bigger thing.
Super pretty outfits too, though.
Yeah, I now feel like it's a fair assessment. You have good outfits. It is a technical skill that is beautiful to watch, and it has a certain panache to it.
Are we talking? Wait, hang on. I kind of checked out. Are we talking about figure skating or?
I agree with you. They're kind of one and the same. Like it is a beautiful sport.
Yes.
That requires a lot of finesse, and a lot of knowledge, and a lot of technical skill that is not respected by the troglodytes of our society.
But I don't think you have to touch another man in weird places. Though,
I never have to lift another man up off of me to fly.
You got a 2-man tent? I don't know.
No.
Viagra helps.
We agreed it's a bivvy.
Yeah, it's a bivvy.
It's a bivvy. Why limit yourself? I mean, we have two sexes. Enjoy both of them.
Yeah, exactly.
Whoa.
I mean,
this went bad or really good.
This is a different type of rabbit trail for the Stormwater Creek podcast.
I don't know.
You're right.
Back to Viagra on the
map. Back to Viagra.
Now we know the truth.
Yeah, I went fly fishing today. I snuck out of the office and just went down to a little city park and
didn't do very good because I noticed there was no pictures.
No pictures. No good. No good.
Is that how you judge on?
No good.
Did they post pictures or not?
Well,
I posted on my first fish on the fly was literally smaller than my palm, and I posted that picture.
Oh shit!
I was proud as shit of it.
Oh, if I would have caught a minnow.
Yeah, exactly.
If I foul hooked a minnow, I'd have been like, yeah.
If there's no pictures, there was no fish
and that's
whatsoever.
what I don't get about fly fishermen. They'll post the smallest trout. It can be 4 inches long, and I don't know.
Dude, you'd be a great
fly fisherman.
fisherman.
Really small things that smell like fish.
Dude, you would be a fantastic fly fisherman because you have those long arms. You could really get them out toward the camera to make everything look awesome.
I tell you, I really kind of I want to go fly fish for reds or speckled trout, especially a red. I think that would be kind of cool.
See, a tarpon.
Oh my god.
I could get into that. Now we're trophy fishing.
Yeah, like a bonefish or permit.
And
we know a guy.
All the trout that they were catching.
We get you hooked up with that. Mm-hmm. You want a guide?
Well,
can he cast? Can he Snoopy pull it for me? Because I cannot cast.
Yeah.
No,
I need him to hook it up and just hand me the pole.
Sean will teach you how to do it all.
But I'm all about fish you can eat.
Yeah.
They would catch trout and they're like, keep them wet and all that. And, it's like, come on, pull one of those out and let's eat it.
Yeah, I know. I mean, if I want to fly fish to catch trout to eat.
Look,
I'm cool with that.
Look,
food.
Here's how it goes. If something's stocked, you eat that shit.
That's food.
Well, I wish we would have brought shit up there to cook it because I was very.
I would have loved to eat that beautiful trout.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like,
Phrasing.
I'm one of those people. Like, I mean, I'm
No.
that fish it. Like, if it's like some, stream that is running low, and okay, catch them, release, all that stuff. But like, if it's stocked by somebody,
No.
shit's gonna get eaten.
Yeah.
You're getting the et.
Yeah.
Well, they stock the pond here, the one I run around every
Yeah.
morning. They stock that once a year.
Over that
With
way.
trout.
Yeah, trout,
Yeah.
I fish that
rainbows.
pond.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, it's right next to work.
Yeah.
Have you ever caught anything in there?
No.
No,
Dude,
no one ever catches anything in
I
there.
don't get that much time
I
off
hear the
for
birds
No,
are
lunch.
like
I forgot to
crazy.
tell you this. Yesterday morning, I took a picture for a guy. He hauled a 6.2 pound bass out of that.
Are you serious?
Oh.
You know that brush pile in the back corner?
Yeah.
That,
Hang on.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'll tell you exactly where it is.
There's like 5 spots to fish.
We're
This
near
is one of them.
we're near
You can
County
see them.
Small and Mesquite, folks. By the way.
Yeah.
Burleson, Texas, Hidden Creek Parkway. There is a
Bailey
lake on
Lake.
Bailey Lake. It is on the right hand side. There is a brush pile on the north end. It is on the east end. You will
There's
see
so
it.
much
Can't
hate
miss
mail
it.
being.
Yeah.
Somebody's like banging on their
Dude.
keyboard
Hey,
right now.
at least it's
How dare
hey,
you?
at least it's not you this time, Abe.
Hey, you know what? I'm cool with
You've
that.
been good
I
lately.
tried.
Literally, I was running, and he hauls in this bass, and I never see anybody catch anything out there. I stop, and he's like, pulls in this bass. I'm like, oh my God. He goes, hey, will you take my picture? I was like,
Yeah.
yes.
Yes, I
Can I take a selfie? Because no one's going to believe this. So I took a picture for him, and he had a little scale there, and it was 6.2 pounds. I was like,
Dude, that's a
all right.
toad.
I heard of
Good
one
for
guy
him.
catching a 10-pound bass out of there.
Really?
Like this kid. Yeah, he said he caught a 10-pounder. No, I don't know.
I
how
told
true
you
that
about the
is.
guy that caught the grass carp out of there. I didn't know there was grass carp in there.
A lot of those ponds have you can buy a fixed carp, grass carp,
Okay.
for your pond. That's like a thing, and they just keep it real nice and clean. So a lot of those old
That would
ponds
make
like that,
sense.
they keep a carp.
Well,
In fact, my grandfather's pond out at his place, there was a huge carp in it. It dried up, and we found its skeleton. It was big.
well, so you have to buy it like fixed.
Yeah, well,
You
Castrated
couldn't just.
it.
you can actually buy it from
Like
Texas Parks and
castrated.
Wildlife.
Well, you couldn't
Yeah.
buy just like all like Jurassic Park it.
Yeah.
You know, put
No,
all females.
nature finds
in
a
it.
way. That's Jurassic Park.
Nature finds a way, David.
Come on, dude. You watched the same movie I did.
Yeah, exactly.
You're right.
A hybrid
Right.
carp bass would come out of that somehow.
Nature
Yeah,
finds.
Some
Nature
of them
finds a way.
identify as a male and it just works.
Yes.
Apparently.
Oh,
Apparently, that's how it works.
that's a whole nother thing too. You see the Vermont person running for governor.
Person?
Person?
They're the first transgendered person is running for governor on the ticket in Vermont.
Yeah, but I feel like
It's-
that's just
a
like
carp.
another box to check. Like, I mean, how hard
Yeah.
is that? Like, of course
Exactly.
it's never happened.
Exactly.
Nature finds a way.
Nature
Nature
finds a way.
way.
Nature finds a way. Yeah, I've kind of got into the wormhole on YouTube the other day on what's his name, Steven Crowder.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
changed my mind, and I was just like, this guy is so good at well, why? Well, why?
The only argument that
why?
makes sense to me on the transgender thing
Well, why?
is like
Wow, we're covering a lot tonight.
Oh,
by
dude,
the way.
very much. Yeah.
No, rabbit trails are good.
the
From
only
mare's milk to,
Yeah.
to transgendered. Okay.
I mean, the
How
only
to
thing.
use Viagra effectively in the mountains.
we don't censor our
God,
guests.
that is the name of my next. If I ever write a book,
That's what you
how to use Viagra effectively in the mountains might be it.
Well, if you're going to name this podcast, it should
Yeah.
be Pitch in a Tent.
Pitch in a tent. Done. It's done.
And that
Pitch
is
in a
what it
tent.
is.
And it just
And
happened.
and that's how a podcast is
And
born.
that's how a podcast name is born. So, acceptable transgender.
So,
Yeah.
so
No,
the
no,
only
really.
the only argument I can
trying to
see
skip over
for
that.
transgender, like is it a thing or not? Is who would choose that? And I can't answer that because out of anything I would identify as, the opposite sex is not one of them. So therefore, they're either mentally ill or they really identify as a different sex because
So-
there's no
Which is
one.
fun.
If you want to send mail, it's tlelston at
Yeah.
gmail.com. 817.
I doubt that they're going to be like, yes.
683-7819. Like I just don't know who would choose that. Now, but then again, there's still only two genders. They're just picking one, which is weird. But I don't know.
I just
don't
feel
know.
like if like
I don't know where I stand on that
don't
whole
get
thing.
mad
I don't know,
because
you get
you
in the club a lot
decided
faster.
to switch genders and I called you the one that you were born.
Now, can I claim
Like,
I'm
the
a
pronoun
huntress?
thing to me is the part that I'm like, calm down, right? Do whatever the hell you want. Like we live in a country where you should do whatever you want. But if you are a man who became a woman and I look at you and I'm like, hello, sir, and you're like, how dare you?
Don't get
the part I'm like, no.
Well, I'm
Or
a
don't try to
thousand-
fight people.
I'm
like
1,000% with you. Let
Yeah.
people do them.
You-
I
you
want
be
to do
you.
me. You do you. Like, I don't get hung up on stuff like that.
But I'm not gonna. But you're also not like walking into somebody's house and going, "This has to be hung up in your house. This animal head has to be hung up
No.
in your house. Otherwise, you're not accepting. And you're a Nazi if you don't do this. You know, like no, like do you, but don't like drag your shit into my life and like change my life. Like
Exactly.
Canada has these like like these. Like if you accidentally called a girl a guy or a guy a girl, like you could get like in trouble. Like that's ridiculous to
No.
me. How are you kidding me?
So yeah, and that's where I'm at on stuff.
Yeah.
It's like,
Do
hey,
you.
if you know what, if two dudes want to get married, you know what, divorce sucks.
Yeah.
Just so you know. But
So back,
you know,
back
y'all
to
found the loophole, and y'all are
The loophole. That's exactly right.
You found the loophole, and now you're trying to like not have the loophole. I don't understand
Yeah,
gay marriage.
Exactly.
well, no, hey, let
I mean,
people,
when this whole marriage thing blows over for me and Jordan, it's happening.
yeah.
Yeah.
We're gonna get married for the benefits.
yeah, look,
We've already talked about what we're. I mean,
Okay.
the trophy room. We will have a
Yeah.
Oh
look.
my god!
we would have
can
a
you
beautiful
imagine?
trophy room.
I mean, it's the only time on
Look,
your
Jordan, we
anniversary
really need to
when-
talk.
when you
You're
roll-
not
wait,
really
wait.
investing enough into the hunting thing, and
Well, when you roll in on your anniversary and you're like, "Where you been?" I was at the titty bar. Oh, and you didn't even invite me, you dick.
Jimmy just asked me to go.
So it was our anniversary. You know I love that place, and
That was where we spent our honeymoon.
You know what? Tell me you didn't go
Dude.
to Tigers.
yeah, I could totally do the gay marriage thing until it came to the sex. Then I'm
Yeah.
out, you know. So
Just looking for a roommate.
Yeah, I'm out all right.
I'm out. It's like my turn. No, it's not.
Nope.
I'm going to bed.
Thanks.
So like a normal marriage, all of a sudden.
So we're back to square one. All right. This is,
So after hearing like where y'all at, would y'all consider like an international hunt, like one of these?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
absolutely. I mean, to me, like I have zero like. I just have such a like I'm so bit by like the bug of this like the elk or like right now it's mule deer. Elk is happening for me next year, but like right now like going on a mule deer hunt, and I just really have that desire to go do that right now. But I feel like when that box gets checked and I'm like, okay, cool, I've kind of gotten this done. Like to go do something like that would be incredible.
Yeah.
Like I think that would be such an experience, and absolutely,
Well,
you know,
so that this trip last year shifted my focus for 12 months.
yeah.
But I'll tell you that my main goal right now is to get my Super 10, my North American Super 10.
Yeah.
And I'm just a few species away. And once that's done, the whole globe
Sky's the
opens
limit,
up.
yeah.
The whole globe opens up. But I'm so laser focused on, I have caribou here in a couple weeks, doing Dall sheep next year, gonna mix in a muskox and then a moose.
And goat.
Yeah.
And it's just, I've got to, that is, like I said, as a hunter, some people would pay $1,000 to go shoot a wood duck just to
Yeah.
mark it off the list.
Just to do
But I did the same thing with a canvasback one time. Just I had to shoot one. But you get so laser focused on something, and that's the goal, and just move on to the next thing. And I've let so many things jump in the way of, again, caribou's been since 2010 or whatever, and just got to get back to it. But-
I'm more about the experience in the species because Dall
Yeah.
was number one on my list for forever since I started reading Outdoor Life, and I just booked a Nepal hunt that is going to cost just as much door to door, and I'm more happy with that because
No regrets, yeah.
it's a 14-day itinerary versus a 10-day, and it's just a totally different part.
And
So
I think that's the difference between him and I. Like, I'm all about crossing off species and hunting new ground and finding new areas to hunt and new styles of hunting, when he's more like cultures, soak in the culture, soak in a lot more. Again, you can go back and listen to this. He remembers the name of the mountain he was standing on and the name of his horse, and I remember how cold it was and how
Moments,
far my
yeah.
shot was and stuff. I think there's a different. We both had the same, well, not the same trip, but
yeah.
it was different perception in the same country. So
I don't know. Super cool story. I mean,
and that's just what shows what people are. It's like which you put up the other day on Facebook. I had a lot of trouble answering your question whether or not like you were a duck hunter or deer hunter in Texas.
sure.
And I was like, I really like them both. I'm really big in it. I like ducks a lot more, a lot more. But
What
like,
do you self-identify with?
yeah,
You know,
exactly. How does yourself
Talk about genders. How many hunters do we have? Are you a duck hunter or you a deer hunter? Elk hunter?
I'm there in the middle. Like, I mean, I really like the idea. Like,
51-49.
well, we've been talking about like, we try to hunt places where we can hunt in the morning and ducks, and then it cuts off at noon, and then we can deer hunt on the same property.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Like
That's
you
utilizing
you
your
just go-
time.
Yeah.
and I mean,
Maximizing your time on the field, for sure.
I really would prefer to duck hunt, but
Yeah.
I want to deer hunt too.
Yeah.
So best of both worlds.
Absolutely.
Like, I mean, I just want to hunt all the time. If I could hunt all the time,
I know.
whatever,
Mhm.
I would do it.
Okay, I know we're probably wrapping up here, but you can hunt one species for the rest of your life.
Okay, yeah. that'd be-
Let's have this conversation.
Oh my god.
One species for the rest of your life.
I mean, I would have to. I would think I would go for like. I don't know. I feel like any decision you make is going to be the wrong decision. Like,
Yep.
like I feel like I have never hunted an elk. So do I call that being an elk? Do I go elk?
But that's
Because-
what I'm saying. That's what I was going to say. I haven't hunted a lot of different species.
Okay, well,
I've been
the
a whitetail
species that
hunter.
you have, I
Yeah,
guess.
well, I mean, I haven't hunted that many. So, like,
No, I would think I
I
would have
don't
to go
know.
like an elk hunting. Like
Okay.
I feel like just on the outside looking in for me, if it was
I
like
know elk's delicious.
you get one more, yeah, exactly. You get one hunt for the rest of your like one species to hunt for the rest of your life. I think I could like hunt an elk in all kinds of different places and like
Sure.
have fun doing that.
Anywhere from Kentucky all the way to
Yeah.
Alaska.
And
Or,
Fognak, yeah, they have.
Fognak.
Yeah.
Fognak, I like.
oof.
Yeah.
That's a
But-
good podcast.
Okay, so, yeah.
So
it
elk
was.
for me,
Elk.
yeah.
Taylor?
Dude, antelope, 100%.
Amen.
No doubt. Antelope hunting is, you can do it when you're 14 to 60. It's fun. It's going to happen. They're delicious. They're a cool animal.
Just
They're-
challenging enough.
Yep. They're just like what's the analogy to a good paper in a skirt, long enough to cover the subject, short enough to keep it interesting. That's an antelope
Yeah.
hunt.
Yep.
I love it.
Same thing. I would hunt pronghorn antelope for the rest of my life. I mean, it's again just hard enough to keep you interested, but
Yeah.
easy enough that you know you're going to be successful if you want to be successful.
See a lot of country.
And honestly, I mean, what is it now? Wyoming was $286 for a tag.
Yeah. That's,
I mean,
Dirt
you can go to certain units in Wyoming and do it for less than $1,000.
And anyone who trophy hunts antelope is missing the picture because they are
Yeah.
just fun to hunt.
yeah.
Amen. So, yeah, I know you don't see a whole lot of pronghorn in here.
There's one right there. There's a little,
Oh,
little
there's
dude
a
right
little
there.
dink right here, but the one hanging in the living room, he came out of the panhandle, but it was like I've shot I think 7 or 8 of them thus far, and there's nothing like it.
Yeah.
I would give up whitetail hunting over that.
Yeah, I would too.
Pretty solid addiction. What
What
about
about-
you, J Money?
Yeah.
I'd have to be turkey.
Oh,
It's just like an elk hunt. It's just like an elk hunt, and
I thought we were having an
Yeah.
intelligent conversation. I've wasted the last hour and a
Yeah.
half of my life talking to this guy.
Exactly.
you're welcome.
This podcast is now called Waste of Time. An excuse to drink beer and eat pizza on a Wednesday.
You
is
fed
the
me.
new
I
name.
drank your beer, and
Yeah.
And
There
ate
it
my
is.
pizza.
I appreciate you. A turkey hunt. No, for real. I know you're going to stick with turkey because you're just double down. Because you're just
I'll
that kind
double
of
down.
Because you're just that kind of a dude. I appreciate that. But, well, I think we've said it all here.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. Pretty cool story. I mean, like I said, I was.
Yeah, I've been waiting for this one.
Yeah.
I actually have. Since we sat down, David, I've been waiting for you to come on and tell the story.
And the best part is he just was like, it's just a really good story. That's basically all we got out of him too.
Well,
So it
and when
was
someone
like,
says that, like, you can tell when someone has like a confident look in their eye, like it's just a good story.
You just need
and
to
then,
hear
and then
it.
they have one other person in the room that goes,
Yeah.
"Yeah, seriously, like it's worth a podcast." And it's like,
Yeah.
all right,
Well,
now I'm intrigued.
When does this happen?
Well, there's
Yeah.
I mean, I've had the opportunity to hunt with a lot of people, but there's very few people I would go, overseas and grind that out with. And Taylor is he's a different person. He has a different perspective on life, and I respect the hell out of him for what he does. Like we talked about earlier, in 1 year, the Kansas whitetail, the Wyoming pronghorn, the Colorado elk. It's just, this guy does it right, and I respect the hell out of him in the outdoors. And he's also, if you look at his Instagram, he has a thing called faceless photography, because it's not about him. It's not about what he's trying to do in the outdoors. And we live in a society where everybody's like me, 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 me. Everybody's trying to build their own brand, and this guy, he just does it because he loves to do it.
I just
not
want to go out and do this.
Yeah. So,
Wow.
But yeah, so I mean, I'd love to have y'all back over and drink more beer and eat
Let's
more
do
pizza
it.
sometime.
We're always
do
down
it.
for
Yeah.
all that stuff.
Well, hopefully after your New Mexico elk hunt, we have
Oh,
have
man.
a solid story to talk about.
Yeah.
I'd
Looking
love to hear
forward to
about
that.
that.
I'm sure
I mean,
Grant
it's like
really
so
wants.
close.
Yeah.
Our friend Chris Hodge leaves on a New Mexico mule deer hunt on the 29th of November, of August. Sorry, beers are catching up. August 29th. So he's gonna leave a little early and go do some scouting. So there's so much cool stuff that's like right about to happen, and I mean it is coming quickly. So the season. So
'Tis the season.
tis the season. We're a couple weeks away from dove, and then a couple more weeks away from early teal, and then it'll be deer season. And
I think we're gonna be gone during the early.
you are. You're gonna be gone
100%.
basically all
Actually,
of,
yeah. I'm gonna go ahead and say yes.
Worth it.
You're gone like most of early teal
Yeah.
season.
Well,
yeah.
Yeah.
I'll tell y'all that, Taylor and I hunt 2-3 days a week right down the street. If
Yeah.
y'all ever want to get on a pretty solid, salty duck hunt, private ground. You don't got to worry about anything but traffic.
I'm not proud. Like if you say ducks, I'm there.
Well,
I
we're
mean-
always looking for more people to shoot more ducks because we like to stay out there a little bit longer.
You call me.
We're there.
You got our number.
Yeah.
I'm there.
Yeah.
Like I don't.
Open invite.
Yeah.
We've actually even shot pheasant down there.
We have shot a pheasant.
No way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Guy across the street was breeding them, and they all got out.
One got out. You're like,
The one he shot had blinders on.
Yeah.
It's bad. So, but yeah,
Blouch.
open invite.
well, I think that'll be an awesome time. And I'm trying to think if there's anything going on BHA wise. I know we've got a September 22nd public land days cleanup coming near you, and I think we're gonna maybe do LBJ grasslands, and maybe I don't know. We're working on that. So
We got a Filson event too in November, right?
we have a Filson
Yep.
event November 29th in Austin. We have also on the same day in September 22nd. We have Mark Smith, aka Muley Slayer,
Yep.
coming to talk to us at Filson in Frisco, which will be a cool event. Frisco,
Yeah, he's a
Plano,
cool guy.
because it's a Plano address, but it identifies as Frisco. I'm pretty
Right.
sure. So, so that'll be a cool event, and I think that's it. We got some cool pint nights coming up. So
Are we expanding a certain unit, Elephant Mountain or something?
Black
Yeah,
Gap.
Black Gap,
Yes,
yeah.
Thank
We're-
you. This
we're-
is why we keep Taylor around here.
Yeah. No.
Yes, exactly.
I sent mine in, and everybody else listening to this. If you listen to our podcast, you should have sent in already to your
Yes.
representative.
And if
that
you're like,
you
what
want
the
to
hell are they
expand.
talking about?
Yeah, then you need to get with the program.
Get the
Go-
email.
Go to if you're not a BHA member.
You're not a BHA member if you didn't get the email.
Yeah.
Because I got the email. I already did it before the email. And then Brian Donovan sent out a
posted it.
nice little
Get it done,
saucy
kid.
get it done.
Yeah. So go out to Facebook if you're a Facebook user. Go out to BHA's website. You'll find it there as well.
While you're at
And,
BHA, if you're not a member, go ahead and just sign up for that. That's
exactly.
And if you're not a member, what are you doing?
It's $25 a year.
What are you doing with
dude.
your life?
Yeah.
Yeah, do it.
$25.
You
like,
spend that on a Yeti shirt. Come on, bro.
that is 100% sure.
And if you buy a membership online, you can get a $25 membership that puts you in the hat for a 75 quart Yeti. So that's kind of, dude, pretty cool.
Yep.
That's where it's at.
Pretty
And then
cool.
you fill that 75 quart Yeti with a public land deer.
Whole bunch of.
And then you'll be
yummy
doing
animals.
you check all the boxes.
You'll be BHing real hard. BHAing real hard.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah.
Look at that.
So,
Hashtag BHAing. Then
hashtag BHA. Hashtag get my goat.
Get my goat.
Yeah. Well, guys, we appreciate you listening to the podcast. If you don't mind, just go and review the podcast for us, and if you give us a rating, that'd be awesome too. So check us out on the website. We've got a bunch of recipes coming out soon.
yeah.
It seems to be the most popular thing that we're getting asked of late. How do I cook this thing that I just shot? Well, let us tell you. Austin and I will be like, Jordan and I will be like, put it on the smoker. Austin will be like, sous vide it, because he's all fancy.
He's all French and shit.
He's all French and shit. So, yeah. Thanks for listening, guys.
Thanks.
Peace.